Oh my goodness. It's so interesting. So interesting how so cliched, but yet so true. So true. Tonight we are continuing with the ongoing Rekieta coverage. There is some details that I've missed. There is some new details, and we're going to cover some of the reactions as well as such as the ongoing extreme cope that I've seen from a particular streaming duo who you may know, and the Lawtube civil war. We're going to talk a little bit about that. There's been a sort of a correlation of all the documents today, which we're going to go through. It hasn't had redacted information, but someone recommended that I should just read it off screen. So I think we'll do that, although there is some pretty spicy details in it. There's some funny ones and some very, very sad ones, actually. I thought I'd start with this. So Mellon is the pastor who reported it to the cops, the mandatory reporter. Anonymous individuals advised Mellon that they believe that the Steel Toe Morning Show, I'll call them that, because I always call them emotaps or whatever, but that Aaron and April are possibly assisting with some type of drug use with Nick and his wife. Nicholas's blogging and views and or subscribers are down, possibly resulting in financial issues. That's right. The cops are looking at Playboard, and they too have noticed that the super chats are down across the stream. That kind of happens when you start transforming your content into what it was, into some sort of coon fest. But speaking of super chats, Brandon Lesko starting off early with $1.99 saying, "Hurro, hurro. You have the BodyCam." We don't have the BodyCam yet, but I have some information on it that is interesting. And I can tell you the BodyCam you can expect in about 10 days. That's probably the earliest. There's one thing in this document that's incredibly sad. And so when the children were, when the arrest was going on, there is part of the document that we read said that the children were wearing clothes that they hadn't changed in days and they weren't being fed. There is this one thing that I missed that actually is really, really sad. It says, while assisting and keeping the 4 children occupied outside the residence, the youngest child, I believe, who I think is 6 years old, when asked about getting clothes, wanted new clothes as she made reference to the fact that she had been wearing these clothes for more than a day. Now, sometimes kids do wear clothes for more than a day. Maybe it was pajamas or something. We don't know the details. But since the school teacher that had reported that the children were reporting of being hungry, we can probably safely assume that this is one of the cases of that. And let's just imagine that if a little girl is actually saying to the policeman that are arresting her father, mother, and mistress, "Hey, can I get some clean clothes? I don't want to stink when we go out of the house." That's just heartbreaking. But let's try and start with something a little bit lighter than that, shall we? So Nick has been active. He has been active on his socials. A bad idea, by the way. But you can see here that he has said hi, and someone responds saying, "Oh, hi, Rekieta Law pays more attention to us than his own children." And he says, "No news really. I've cleared all the liquor out of my home." So this would seem to imply that he did take the conditional release. Now, when he was in the jail, there was 2 options. Pay the $50,000 bond. That's like an entire local's 5K subscribers amount of money, right? That's how much it was going to cost before he bought the hot rod or whatever it was. But it's probably unlikely as that sort of cash on hand. Camelot has implied that he was spending up to $20,000 a month on cocaine, drug addictions, and perhaps hand jobs in Minneapolis. But it seems that he took the conditional release. Now, the conditional release is that he has to stay clean, sober, and there's probably random testing and other conditions, right? So one of the conditions is obviously being completely sober. So it sounds like he's getting rid of every drop of alcohol in the house. And that's great news, actually. That is actually very promising. He says that I will do whatever needs doing for my family, but with full advice, with counsel and consideration of reality. People want this solved in a week. Sorry, it'll be a while. This seems pretty reasonable. Now, I've seen very less reasonable takes from him. As we go on, we might see some of those. But Rekieta does say, post all memes. I want someone to archive them so when this is all over, I can properly mock myself. So there you go. We have permission to talk about this. Not that we needed it or even really wanted it. But if anyone complains, hey, no grifting, the man himself has said, you know what, make as much fun of me as you want. And I think I have a meme right here. I wouldn't have got away with it if it wasn't for those blasted meddling kids. There you go. Brandon Lesko says, with a $5, his wallet is increasing in size. Look at that. Just don't pull a Sean and act giddy when this happened, or you say bye-bye to Mr. Super Chat. Hair, oh, better. What? Her, oh, better. I don't know what you mean by that part. There's going to be some levity in this stream. There are jokes to be made. It is a very serious stream, though. But I'm not going to hold back if I think that there's something that needs to be made fun of. I think that he has made quite a few mistakes that deserve and maybe need criticism, because some of the information that I've seen, some of the first things that Rekieta has said online implies that he is going to fight, that he is going to say, no, it was all the government. It was a ruse. In fact, that's what Barnes and I believe Viva Frei have been saying, that it was the government's fault. It was a conspiracy. Criminal conspiracy, perhaps. Who knows? That is absolutely insane. That is absolutely insane. In fact, I have a thing from, oh, here we go, right here, from Sean the man himself. The amount of people accepting a government narrative is both surprising and unsurprising. Yes, you rats, you government rats, but it is what it is. And then we have some men never compromise. They cope. Copenhagen snuff. Look, there is some, like, I have no idea what Barnes, wait, no, sorry, not Barnes. Barnes has been saying some crazy stuff. Oh, wait, here's actually a detail that someone has emailed into the court cases, and they said, right now they have not posted the unconditional bail, so it seems that it is unconditional bail. So that's just a piece of evidence for you. Thought you might appreciate it. No, but there is some crazy stuff from Viva Frei. Look at all those tabs. There's nothing wrong with having tabs. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of tabs. Be sure to like the stream, by the way. Even if you're on the stupid new YouTube system, you have to close the chat first to like it. That's very annoying. But do help out if you can. So I have no idea. Like, I was hoping that there's some Canadians in the chat. I'm hoping there's some Canadians in the chat, because Viva Frei is Canadian, right? And I have no idea what he's saying in this thing. So maybe someone can decode this gobbledygook. He says, nowhere in the application for the search warrant does it allege that the children were the source of accusations of neglect. Nowhere, quite astonishing, that people don't seem to understand this and are continuing to repeat the line that the children were the source of report. But he's saying this, and he's linking this article, which highlights in red, it was reported from a church preschool teacher that the children had complained of being hungry and not fed and wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days at a time and would start to smell. How does this make sense? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills reading this. Am I not supposed to believe my lying eyes? What is going on here? Can somebody please explain this to me? Quoting directly from the application, the reporter indicated that 4 people from the church had gone to him reporting neglect of the children. One of those, I assume, would be the teacher. Possibly controlled substance use and questionable relationship with an additional couple. Now, actually, interesting thing about this point is when I was reading through the warrant application, I was thinking to myself, that's a very strange detail to include. Why would you add that they maybe have this throuple situation? Or is that just being like puritanical, or are they just being judgmental? Like, it's a modern world, it's 2024. Like, why are they saying in a report to the police that there's this extra couple that's sleeping over at a house? Now, someone actually said, and I didn't think about this because I actually don't have a degenerate mind. I kind of play degenerate on TV, but I'm actually a pretty normal guy, pretty boring, really. Someone said that it is actually a very important detail because in many cases of child abuse, there is these outside parties that are coming into their houses and being exposed to these dangerous people. So it actually is an important detail. So that just cleared that up for me. Now, I don't think there was like SA or physical, like punching or beating up of the kids. Not at all. But neglect is a form of abuse. The kids, it literally says they were not being fed, wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days at a time, and would start to smell. That is abuse. I'm sorry, but that's abuse. So I have no idea. Viva Frei says this in his own thing. And later it was reported from a church preschool teacher that the children had complained of being hungry and not being fed. The children had complained. But then he says nowhere in the warrant does it allege that the children were the source of the accusations of neglect. The children said, what are you talking about? I have no idea. If there are some Canadians in the chat that can please decode this madness to me, I would be very much appreciated, because it just does not make sense to me at all. So I have no idea what Frei is going on there. There was another one here. This is another kind of like sad one, and this is a part of the document that we're going to go through. We're going to read through most of it, if not all of it. But let's see. So one of the things that lawyers will say to you is don't talk to the cops. Don't incriminate yourself. So this is from one of the arresting individuals. It says, I went to the county jail and requested Nick to speak with me. He indicated he was willing to do so. That's a mistake. I brought him to an interview room in the county law enforcement center. He was again read his Miranda rights. He agreed to speak with us and waived his right to counsel. Not so smart. Obviously, he was representing himself for the arraignment, but he should have got someone to come in and talk to him. Yes, he is a lawyer. Yes, he has passed the bar, even though some people seem to not believe it anymore. But he has. In theory, he can defend any court case. Of course, usually lawyers go off into their own like little special areas, right? But he has said, and every lawyer has said, never represent yourself. You're too close to the case. You won't have the ability to really zealously defend yourself in some cases. Like, for example, Nick can't defend himself and his wife because one of the abilities of zealously defending yourself is throwing your co-defendants under the bus, and you can't really throw your wife under the bus, right? That's why Nick can't defend himself or April. Well, I mean, I guess he could maybe defend April, but that's kind of weird. It'd be a massive conflict of interest. Like, almost, some people suggested that would actually be a disbarable offense if he went to court with this and tried to represent himself. But he's not. My understanding, he has already retained counsel. And that actually might be why Barnes is being so hard in the paint and insane on Twitter, because Barnes has a history of really saying these wacky theories online and trying to get on the defense team. And he did actually say, like, I will defend you if you want, Nick. And he has been going off on people like Sean, telling, I think I have that actually here. If you look at Barn, we have the Lawtube Sheen, Rekieta, Lawtube Sean. I always say Sheen, though. Sounds like the child welfare was used as a pretext to search the contraband to me. Search should have stopped once the children were accounted for otherwise. And potentially based Sean says, no, they saw Nick displaying signs of drug use and they used the May 21st streams proof. Nick fucked himself. Robert Barnes responds, you're a grifting joke. Stick to analyzing anime. And Barnes get absolutely blowed out in the comments with anime sucks, which is true. Cope and Sneed. No, actually, I love anime. I love anime. But interestingly, you can actually see that Rekieta has been active on Twitter, and he has actually liked this very tweet. So he knows what is going on. He knows that people are talking. He's been following the drama. He's been following the chatter. You can't disconnect. You have to stay online all the time. All the time. What is this? Oh, some new details. I just received a message from somebody that says there is some new information has just dropped. How interesting. We might check that in just a second. As I get back to where I was, where was I? But no, this is the really sad part where you don't talk to the cops and you especially don't say this. He agreed to speak with us and waived his rights to counsel. During the conversation, he refused to answer any questions regarding drug use or any controlled substance use, which is good. That's a good advice. Don't do that. He advised me that he resides in the residence and stays in the master bedroom. That's the party room with the mini fridge, retro fridge that Aaron bought as he was cleaning up the shit. Like he was sweeping up. He was sweeping up and he was bringing snack trays. But at least he cooked the kids some dinner because nobody else in the house could. He advised me that he sleeps in the master bedroom with his wife, where he sleeps. He indicated that April was just a friend and visiting and does not live at the residence. He explained that he is extremely stressed out in regards to his 5 kids and their extra activities. These damn kids. See audio recording for further details. What is that? Don't say this to the cop. Holy shit. I would have gotten away for it. It wasn't for those damn meddling kids. All right, hold on a second. I'm going to hide my screen for a moment and just check on this link that I have been sent. What is this? What is this? Something coming out just now. Oh, spicy information. Spicy information. What is this? New leaked DMs. How interesting. Ooh. Should we go straight into that? Or should we save it for later? Salacious details. Salacious details. Let's go. All right. I think the chat wants what they want. All right. Let's take a look. So I haven't. Let me just check this for any. I just want to make sure there's no. Yeah, it doesn't look like there's any doxing information on there, although someone has used a very spicy slur on it. So this is direct from the farms. Let's have a look at this. Icy hot solitude. Let's see what this is. This appears to be the secret Lawtube DM group. Let's have a look. What does this say? So these are, if you're watching Legal Mindset stream last night, which is a very good stream, I definitely recommend him for coverage. And the more, like, I do more of the social commentary, more of the emotional stuff, the gill shit, I suppose you could say. He does the hard-hitting legal stuff, right? Let's have a look. So this is, yes, so sorry, I should finish the thought, shouldn't I? I should. He had a stream and he was talking about this secret chat that very sadly Kurt was not a part of. And I think that Kurt is poor on civil law. I'm starting to feel very bad for him. He wasn't invited to any hot tubs. He wasn't invited to any wife swapping. He wasn't offered any cocaine. And apparently he's not in this secret chat link that Nick was blowing up last night. Let's take a look. So I have oh, look at this. Lawtube, Kurt in the chat right there. So Kurt, you and I are about to see this for the first time as we are both not in this group. Let's see. Cool. I'm literally talking about a bullshit neglect report from a specifically vindictive person that's quite literally the opposite of the truth. I'm not talking about anything else at all. I'm not saying anything else right here. Talk to me in DMs. That's good advice, by the way. You shouldn't say anything else in public or even in DMs. I'm not Icy Hot Soniture. I do not have a Kiwi Farms account, but I am a fan of their work. And I do lurk a little bit. Let me see. Oh, and no guns were ever discharged. Look, he just said he's not going to say anything else, and he continues to talk. No guns were ever discharged in this home. I don't even own a 22. Now, this is one of the pieces of evidence that was recovered from the bedroom. Now, it was a spent shell casing. I believe it was. I mean, it said it was a 22 in the report. Now, maybe this was a typo. Maybe the officer was meant to write 223 or something, and they wrote 22. I don't know. It's not important. Why is this detail potentially a bad thing to say? Why do you want to not self-incriminate yourself? Well, if the prosecutor sees this, or if someone in the law team sees this, and they say, Mr. Rekieta, you said you do not own a 22. Is that correct? And he says, well, yes, it is correct. And it says, but we found a 22 spent casing in your bedroom. How do you explain this? Well, he's like, well, I don't have a 22, so I don't know. Then they might introduce something, well, to the jury, or they might just say, well, maybe hypothetically, and this is just theory craft, right? There could be any manner of things that this could be incriminating for. They could say, well, the only reason he could have this is because he was taking out the gunpowder and mixing it with the drugs. Because people do this. It sounds crazy, but I can't remember what it's called. But it's like there's something about like the nitroglycerin in the gunpowder. People actually do this. They take gunpowder, mix it with drugs, and then they snort or inject it. I couldn't tell you. But if he is on record saying he doesn't have a 22, and then they introduce this, it's going to sound pretty bad to the jury. That's just one example. Like that's just off the top of my head. Brown. I guess it's called Brown. Parallax says that could be the case. This is an example of how everything go tits up but if you keep talking, just don't say anything. Just don't say anything. He returns to say, I haven't fired my guns moving from my other home here, been about 5 years. All of them were locked. Handguns are in a safe. I mean, handguns, I do know some pistols do use 22 rounds though. But I assume it was a 223. AR had a lock through the receiver. Okay. My dad was helping with the driving the other day for our kids' education and extracurricular activities. He tallied up 80 miles on a day average. I don't care what people think about almost anything. The kid shit is bullshit. I'm pretty sure I know who reported that, and they have a specific animus towards me. Imagine actually having it was all those other people's fault. Look, this other person if maybe they do have animus towards you, but they didn't get high on stream. They didn't neglect your kids. They didn't forget to feed them. Okay. Even if they do hate you, you are responsible for your own actions. You sound a lot like Mauler. People tell me that. They have told me that before. But he's Welsh, right? I'm from Australia, but I do have a bit of a mixed accent. Let's see. The first activity I missed for my kids was the day I was in jail. Shockingly, not pulled over, not cited for a DUI, ever. Never questioned for a DUI, ever. Anyway, whatever issues exist for me, and I'm not admitting to shit during my case, obviously, I figured a friend of mine would maybe realize that my children have never been neglected or in danger. But I guess that small courtesy is too much to ask. Let's see, responding. So someone is responding to this comment he just said. Is that driving blasted out of your mind like the reported says? No, you fucking idiot. No one sees me drive except for the kid that was in the car when he was pulled over and arrested. And he has actually talked about the children being in the car quite a lot. And in fact, when he got his Mustang straight from the dealership with no winter tires, driving home with his daughter in the back seat or whatever, slid off the road because he's first time using a super powered car. I don't know if it's technically a supercar. What is it, a Mustang or whatever or something? Literally skid off the road. A miracle no one was hurt. So yes, people do see him drive. The children see him drive as he drives them around. I know it's hard to see someone when they're driving 88 miles per hour, 4 hours after a bender. What the fuck? If you're driving 4 hours after a bender, you're not sober. That's driving drunk. What are you talking about? Again, what? Oh, sorry. This is someone else. This is not Rekieta. So someone has been blurred out. I know it's hard to see someone when they're driving 88 miles per hour, 4 hours after a bender. Again, what the fuck are you talking about? Are you referring to a speeding ticket? Do you know what tracks marks are? Retard? Yeah, call your friends a retard. Yeah, cope to your friends in a private DM and just call them retards because they're trying to help you. I have never done... Oh, so I guess this must have been... When he says track marks, he's talking about the arm. It looks like there is some... This is just Rekieta's messages that appears. I think there's some things that have been edited out here. I have never done IV drugs in my life. Now, I'm inclined to believe that he probably didn't do like injectables. I think it was mostly cocaine and snortables, and he's got the nose for it, of course. You know, he gets a good work out of that schnoz. It's not unrealistic. It wouldn't be crazy. Like if it turns out that he was, then it wouldn't surprise me, because if you're going to do one drug, you may as well go and do all of them, right? Like if you're already into cocaine, like what's not to do, right? What's not to do at this point? You've got your ketamine, you've got your Molly. Why not an injectable, right? Why not? Trusting a drug addict to be honest. I'm not. It's like, I'm saying that it's like, if there's one thing I might believe him, it's he probably didn't do that drug, but it's not impossible. By the way, please like the stream. It does help out. What the fuck are you talking about? 8 a.m., homie? I'm usually driving home at 8 a.m. and about to go to sleep. So I'm pretty sure Rekieta gets up, or he starts his stream at like 1 a.m. He goes for like 5 hours. He goes to like 5 a.m. in the morning. He's absolutely wasted by the end of it. There's no way he can sober up in time to drive the kids to their activities and then return home by 8 a.m. This is almost tacitly implying that he is just driving drunk. Okay. BP in the chat. Hello, how's it going, BP? Says, hello, fellow kids. You got any of them injectables? We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Nate the lawyer in the chat. How's it going, Nate? I believe you got banned by Barnes because of your crazy conspiracies, as he is going to get that constitutional victory over you, as I understand it. But very sad to see that you were banned by Barnes. But he says, this is crazy good stream for $5 dues. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. All right. Is that the extent of the things? I think that is all of it. Oh, wait, is there more? Oh, wait, there's more. Holy shit. This is actually... Okay, there is more. If you think my kids went hungry or were neglected, kill yourself. It's a bit of a spicier side of the, since we saw from the other ones, where, oops, I moved them. I don't know. Oh, so the yellow individual responds, I don't know what to believe. You've become a junkie, and they're not the most honest people out there. I mean, that's some straight talk shit. I've been on stream with you where you were intoxicated or too intoxicated to read super chats for hours. I never thought your kids were hungry. Well, you see, you can be drunk on a stream. I've been drunk on a stream many times, in fact, but my kids never went hungry because I don't have kids, for the main reason. But yeah, it is possible to be drunk on a stream and not let your kids go hungry. The problem is we have a police report and 4 people saying your kids were going hungry, and also your live-in manservant, mistress, husband feeding your children SpaghettiOs because you were too lazy or strung out to do so. So it's a pretty easy assumption to make that the kids were hungry, I think. I stopped. So this is the yellow chatter says, I stopped that because it was getting bad. You need to admit you have a problem. Become a junkie. Wow. All right. Thanks, Flash. Oh, so I guess that's yellow Flash. No, I mean, they're in yellow, so that makes sense. It would have to be yellow Flash, right? Is there another Flash in Lawtube? I don't think so. Our post nerd says, stop with the Aaron bullshit. He has every reason to lie. I agree with you. I think that Aaron is a liar. But I think that he is telling a lot of truth in his stories. He's obviously telling a story to make it sound like he is better. Make no mistake, it's pretty obvious. But there is some truth in those things, and he's in a position where he wants to hurt people, and he can do so easily with the truth. Now, there's actually an Aaron, sorry, not Aaron. There's an Aaron and Alex Stein interview that came out today. We might check this out later, and I think I've detected a few of Aaron's lies already. But how else do you explain all these things that went down at their house? They were very obviously swinging. That's going to be very interesting to see the first statement out from Rekieta to see if he's going to go with it, the narrative, or say it's all lies. We'll just have to see. Alrighty, there you go. Is there more? This is the same one posted over and over. There we go. So that is the extent. That is the update on those for now. More details come out every day. More every day. And Enter the QB with the $5 says, it's unfortunate that the Grift King is possibly going to miss the ultimate Grift gold mine. The 2024 election would have made $1 million easy. Yeah, probably. I definitely think that is the case. Let me just check this. MLS. Should I invite some people to talk with me? Perhaps a little bit later. We'll go through a few things first. But yes, I see there's a lot of people in chat. In fact, there's over 1,000. Wow, that's crazy. Be sure to say hi in chat and let me know where you're watching from. Alrighty. I got some more. I got some more Viva Cope, actually. Here we have. Let's see here. Viva really needs better glasses. So he's circling the nose when it came back from the break with the white substance on his schnoz. It says, oh, there's definitive evidence, which amazingly wasn't included in the application of the search warrant. Noted. It was actually. It was. They actually do mention, I guess he didn't read this at all, but they actually do mention that the live streams were a part of their investigation before the warrant was applied. So I don't know if Viva is just making shit up entirely. It's very confusing to me. I've never seen such a dishonest lawyer, which it almost sounds like an oxymoron, right? But it is what it is what it is. Now, what you can expect to see in the coming days and or weeks, digital evidence. We're going to be these are all going to be like, make no mistake, all of this is coming out. All of this is coming out because people are so involved and engaged in this case. Digital photographs. Now, Nick has claimed that the house wasn't covered in trash, dust, dirty dishes. Well, I guess the photographs are going to come out. We're going to find out about that. Audio recordings. That'll be the interview with Nick Rekieta. BodyCam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different offices were recording body cams. Now, I'll talk about that in a little bit. That's going to take about 10 days. Because they are going to go through and edit out the minors. They're going to blur them. We're not sure how much is going to be redacted just yet, but that's good. I was thinking I would probably just do that myself if it was released like today or tomorrow, but it looks like I won't have to, which is nice. PowerPoint video. Oh, they got a little PP for us. Clip from Nick Rekieta's online podcast, which shows white powdery substance on his nose. It literally, come on now, Viva. It literally says right here, the digital evidence included. It says, shows the white powdery substance on his nose. Documents, we've already seen the application for the search warrant. There's also a couple of crazy little memes in these documents, which are almost too crazy to believe. But before we get into that, Ike says, or Ike, I should say, Ike with a 20 Australian says, enjoying your coverage of this. It's sad to see someone we thought had it all together going down this path. I think we all want him and his wife to get clean and sober so that their kids have their parents again. Yeah, I absolutely agree with this. I think that would be the happy ending, the redemption arc. I want to see that. It's statistically unlikely. About 10% of people can get away from addiction problems, what I've been hearing over the last few days. That would be the best result for everyone. If he could get clean, admit his mistakes, make it up to his family, get the kids back with their parents. I think that's the best thing for everyone. Some people probably say, nope, that it's too late. I disagree. I think that you can always redeem yourself from these sort of things, but he's going to be making it up for his entire life. There is no making the kids forget that you were having these orgies in the master bedroom and letting them go hungry. There is no making the kids forget that the cops busted down their door with a battering ram and took them away. Hopefully to family members, maybe grandparents or something. Nate being banned? Oh, you mean being banned from by Barnes? I see. Yeah, that's very sad. But yeah, I hope he gets clean. Honestly, he does. If he could go back to the old Nick, that's the Nick we like. I think for me, like, because, you know, I didn't know Nick personally. I talked to him once or twice, but we weren't friends. We just like crossed streams a couple times. Even though you're never supposed to cross the streams, but it did happen once or twice. I used to be a really big Rekieta fan. And that's what really hurts for me the most, is that the hypocrisy of it all. Like, he even starts his show with, you know, that fight, hypocrisy. What did Nick say for all these years? Don't beat your women, don't beat wives, don't be a bad parent when he's talking about wrong toy, don't be a cuck, don't wife swap, don't swing, be control of your vibe. Like, he's just gone back on basically everything that he talked about. Like, honestly, how is he a better parent than Ron Toye now? I mean, I guess he didn't throw a remote at his wife. We don't know about that. But, I mean, he's threatened a judge? More or less, he kind of did that. I mean, well, not really. He said he was going to drink alcohol out of a vagina or something. Come on now. How is he different? And if you think back about all these things, like, just think about the victory lap, all these pieces of shit in Funimation and all of the people over the years. They're just doing a little victory lap now because he couldn't just be enjoyed what he had. Like, he had it all. He had the house, he had the trust fund, he had the kids, he had the car, he had a successful show, he had a big group of friends, or, you know, people that would at least, you know, beg to go on his show, that sort of stuff. He had it all, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. The grass is always greener. You have to taste. You have to taste it. You got to sow those wild oats. No, like, that's the thing. Like, the temptation is always there in everyone's life. You're always going to be tempted. But controlling those temptations is it's a part of being a human and a part of life, and a very important part. Press Tide with 25 PLN says, I specifically remember Nick shouting on his Friday fun stream like 1.5 years ago. ABG, always be grifting. Always be grifting. True and real. And Puddingway, welcome to member status. It gives you access to all the emojis, such as the cursed Sonichu medallion, which is probably responsible for Nick's downfall. Also, you get access to the private Discord, which I will post a new invite link to after this stream. So if anyone would like to gain access to those or just support the stream, much appreciated as we go through this topic. Let's have a look. What do I have next for you? Let's try and start with something a little bit silly before we get into the serious stuff, because I like to try and break things up with a bit of humor. Possible modifications for your ARs. Look at that. Look, if you're being raided by the cops in a unconstitutional search, if you have this, that's going to send them back. Okay. That'll stop it. Alrighty. All right. We'll go into this one first. We'll go into this. This is a video by a woman called Plunder Law. Plunder? Wait, let me see. I'll try and get her channel name correctly. Plunder True Crime. I've never seen her before, but she is in quite... Oops, sorry. That was a spoiler. All right, let's have a look. I need to unmute this, don't I? I do. Let me see. All right.
Wowee. So we're all chomping at the bit to see the Nick Rekieta BodyCam video arrest footage, but looks like it'll cost $3,000.
Now, I've heard that Null is going to pay for this and then reverse crowdfund the expenses. So you can make no mistake, this is going to come out. There are so many people that are invested in seeing this BodyCam footage. It is 100% going to come out. The money will come from somewhere. Like, if it's not from one of the detractors, it's going to be from one of the grifters. You never know. But somebody is going to pay the $3,000. I'm going to skip to about 10 minutes in, and that's when they actually have the phone call where they talk about the details about why, the costs. There we go.
Here's credits. Oh my God, Nick's drunk. Yes. Cool.
I think it starts about 10 minutes in.
I don't know what clips I'm going to put in here, but first let you listen to my phone call to Minnesota so you can confirm that the BodyCam video will be $3,000.
Nice little infographic under here. Attorney Nicholas Rekieta gets, well, I mean, he got, this is a bit weird thing, but a nice little info, $1.2 million in super chat earnings. Oh, that's over his entire career. That is correct. If you can look on Playboard right now and check that for yourself. But this isn't how much money Nick has made over the thing. Of course, he's made a lot more, not just in the ad revenue, YouTube premiums, but the sponsorships. Like, what is that shit he was trying to sell? The greens? Don't eat vegetables, just drink this green shit. I don't know if Field of Greens is good or not, but I've never tried it. But I remember those ad breaks, and I was like, I'm just gonna eat vegetables, I think. But yeah, he made a lot of money. He made a lot of money over his career. Not to like the Rumble contracts, I assume was worth a lot of money initially. Maybe not so much now, but you know. So this is the phone call.
San Diego County Law Enforcement Center. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. If you know your party's extension, you may dial it at any time. Please hold while I transfer your call. Record this, Carol.
Hi, my name's Paula Mooney, and I'm from Plunder True Crime Media Company. I'm attempting to get the body cam footage of the arrest of Nicholas Rekieta.
Okay. So I can tell you right now, because it's still an active open investigation, body cam, they have to redact because there were juveniles involved.
Yeah.
And anyway, their fee for redaction is $60 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
And he estimated there was going to be about 50 hours of redaction.
Wow.
Of his time.
Yes, that seems pretty reasonable. If there's 9 cameras, there's going to be a lot of footage. Yeah, $60 an hour at 50 hours. That seems pretty reasonable. $3,000. It doesn't sound too ridiculous, actually, for video editing. Also, how's it going, Christina? I should make you a mod so I can see you in chat. Add as a moderator. There we go. Standard. There we go.
Fine.
Okay.
So at this point, you can request it, but it's going to be, like I said, 10 business days before we can.
So 10 business days. So what is today? For me, it's like, let's see. So that'll probably be the 10th of June, I would say.
Get anything else.
And it'll be approximately $3,000?
Yep.
Okay.
The redaction. Yep.
Okay.
Because there's that much body cam footage.
Gotcha. Okay, so I already sent an email, and then will the county attorney have to approve its release, or?
Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Yep.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye-bye.
I do actually have YouTube Premium, guys. I don't know why I have the ad. It's my other account. Sorry. No thanks. There we go.
Call again and realized she told me it would be released in about 10 business days. So that would take us to about June 11th or so.
Yeah, look, I'll get YouTube Premium by the time the body cam's out. How about that? 2 more weeks.
So hopefully we will get it by then. And the reason I don't like crowdfunding or anything like that.
All right. So she goes on to say she doesn't like crowdfunding because maybe like so much of it were redacted, you'll get buyer's remorse. But it seems like the Joshua Connor Moon is already on the case. So you can expect that like people want to see this shit. Of course, it's going to come out pretty quick. 10 days does seem like a long time. But I guess the real question is, will it come out before the actual first stream of Rekieta, which would be very interesting to see what defense he's going to go with. He has claimed that the house was not dirty. The house was, in fact, immaculate. The kids were not hungry. There was no dishes piled up. There was no dust on the tables. There was no piles of clothes. We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Like, that's the thing. The digital photos, the body cam stuff, it's all going to come out. It's going to be very hard to lie about this. So Nick really needs to think very carefully about what he says, because if someone takes his actual words, compares them to the footage, it's not going to look great. It's not going to look great. Of course, there's always going to be people that'll support him no matter what. But I mean, it's pretty hard at this point for, I think, any reasonable person. The expert says, for YouTube Premium, thank you very much, the expert. I much appreciated. All right. So I will now start to go through the stitched documents. So there'll be a bit of repetition, I believe. I'm going to read this off screen. If you want to see it yourself, you can find it. You know where to find it, probably. If you don't, then you don't deserve to see it. I'm doing this because the children's name have not been redacted in this, and I think it is a good idea to try and keep them a little bit anonymous as much as we can. Obviously, it's in the news quite a bit, so it's probably it's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging. I'll put this one up on screen. I'll put this one up on screen though, so I can read the chat, and also you guys can talk about the blogging and viewing numbers being down, and then subscribers are down. All right, so let's go through the supplemental report. So it begins off with the mentioned parties, suspects, victims, and reporting parties. It seems like the pastor, the only interesting part from the first page for me is that the priest is basically doxxed. Mandatory reporter. If there's a note here that says, note, would like to remain anonymous. Well, that's the first line. The first line is already a failure. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. I'll be referring to the priest as Melon. Of course, everybody already knows who he is. So let's start, I guess, from the beginning. There's a couple things that I missed. There's a few things that I want to go through, but I'll try and keep this as succinct as possible. What is this? What is this? Let's see. On May 16th at approximately 8:39, Sergeant David of the County Sheriff's Office was asked to stop into the office to take a mandatory reporting call from the individual who wished to remain anonymous. Unfortunately, this wish was not granted, but was mandated to report. His name was Melon, who was a pastor at the Church of the City of New London. He is the pastor to a family with 5 children. Hey, just like Rekieta. Well, hopefully he feeds his children, though. The family he received reported information of a neglect is on Nick Rekieta and his wife and their children, who I will not mention. 2 of the children reside with their mother and father. Oh, wait, there's 2 children mentioned here? Oh, no, sorry. Oh, sorry. It's just, it's the next page. Sorry. That's actually, that's just, they've got a lot of kids. They've got 5 kids, so it came up to the next line. The children reside with their father and mother at his address. Advised that the Rekietas had a live-in nanny for approximately 4 to 5 years. And then the nanny is actually named here. That is new to me. I did not know about the nanny. A lot of people have talked about her. She is the legendary nanny that was spending $3,000 a month on snacks. Now, what snacks is she buying? Like, unless she was buying the white powdered snacks for Rekieta himself. I find that pretty hard to believe. I want to see some receipts on this. I want to see how many ding-dongs and Pop-Tarts she's buying. How could you, like, there are people that don't get paid $3,000 a month. How the hell is he spending $3,000 a month on snacks? Now, allegedly, the degeneracy drove the nanny out of the house. Now, this is, I mean, good for her to know when to leave, but this is really sad because I didn't know that she was I didn't know she was here for 5 years, like 4 to 5 years. Like, I thought the nanny was like a 1-year deal or something. But like that means that their youngest child is 6 years old. So that means from their earliest memories, because kids typically don't remember anything until they're at least 2, this nanny has been a part of their life for those children's entire lives. And they drove her away with, I guess, their rampant degeneracy, maybe asking to include her. We don't know. That's obviously conjecture on my part. But she recently left the Rekietas and began working for another family within the church. This was the first flag for the individuals who reported to the pastor that something was wrong in the Rekieta house. The pastor then advised that he does not know that there's reporters. He then advised the Sergeant David, yes, sorry. They then advised the sergeant, does not know that this report has been made. A total of 4 anonymous people made contact with the pastor and advised of the following information. Nick and his wife have 2 homes within the property area. They have 2. I know that Nick has 2 homes. I thought one of them was a different location. I wonder if there's they mean like an adjacent guest house or something. I'm not sure what they mean by that. A family who has been staying in one home renting someone and their unknown husband. Okay, so this must be his first house. Now, I understand the house is in a trust, but I'm not sure exactly what the details of that are. But it's not really important to this. It's not really important to this case, I believe. Nick and his wife have formed a newer relationship with Aaron and April Imhotep. No, it's I can always forget the names. It's like Imhotep or something. I'm just going to call them Aaron. Aaron and April. But wait, hold on a second. Did someone post me the Imhotep meme? I got to see that one. There was actually, because I was saying that last night. Sorry, I gotta break up these things with memes because it's how I cope. It's how I cope with this very, very sad story. It shouldn't be too far up in the thing. Hold on. Just give me a second. There's some familiar faces in here, actually. Let's see. It was from last night. Oh, what the fuck? Why are you guys posting all these GIFs? God, you guys are spamming out this channel. Give me one second. Or just message it to me directly. Just send it to me directly. When I get to it, I'll redo it. We need to keep the show going. All right. Let me see. They had formed a new relationship with Aaron and April of the Steel Toe Morning Show, and that they do some type of blogging and or YouTube radio shows. Yeah, that's what you should call it. This is a YouTube radio show. The pastor was then advised that Aaron had moved in with the Rekietas as well as his wife. The house is in disarray, with clothes and other clutter items everywhere. The children are 2 boys, I won't mention them, and 3 girls. And they have been noted to be wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days, with their clothing in disarray and starting to smell. So I don't understand, like, how can Viva say that the children was not a part of this? All right, here we go. There we go. I've got it now. Thank you very much. AM. We've got it. There we go. It's Aaron Emotep. This is the culprit. Aaron Emotep. But no, go back to this. Hold on. I'll just turn on my air conditioner as well. It's getting a bit spicy in my room. There's clothing everywhere, and there's disarray and all sorts of things. There we go. All right. So they have been noted to be wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days, and they have started to smell. This is basic parenting. Like, just do the fucking laundry. Like, I don't know anything about Nick's wife. Like, I don't want to like make fun of her. But what does she do? She doesn't have a job. She watches Star Trek all day, apparently. What does she do? She doesn't cook, apparently. Nick does the cooking, or Aaron does the cooking. Why doesn't she just like do the laundry and cook some shit? I'm actually like really don't, unless she's just driving the kids to and fro. Something like I really don't want to make fun of her because I don't know anything about her. But like, maybe that's just like that, inbuilt thing that men have. They don't want to make too much fun of women. Maybe I'm just being a simp here. I don't know, because she is a negligent mother, at least according to the law. Who can say? But honestly, what was she doing if she didn't have a job? Where were we? The preschool director at the church is, and I'm going to omit her name. The preschool teacher advised the pastor that the younger children have advised her that they are hungry and not being fed, and also made the comment about the clothing. One anonymous party advised that they do not believe the children born in 2012 and 2015 are being homeschooled, while the older boys do attend school at the Christian school, which I won't mention the names. Now, I thought all the Rekieta children were being homeschooled, so I guess that's what Kayla does. But I guess that's too stressful to do the laundry or some shit. I don't know. My mum actually homeschooled me for like 3-4 years. I went to regular high school, but when we were moving a lot, because I moved from Australia to New Zealand, and because we were moving so much, like every 6 months or so, it was quite common. We decided that it'd be easier to just get homeschooled. So me and my brother were homeschooled by my mother, and she somehow found a way to cook dinner and also wash the clothes. It all makes sense now. Hey, look, you know that my parents fed me. Just look at my physique, okay? You know that they did. But yeah, like if they're being homeschooled, and then what do they mean by this? They advised her that they don't think they're actually receiving their education. So she's just getting like high and watching Star Trek all day, and the kids aren't being educated. They're just like playing on their iPads or some shit, playing Roblox. I mean, I don't know. It's all like conjecture. It's all just like theory craft, but that would be what I assume. I do remember Nick saying actually on a stream once that like he does like the kids playing Roblox because they do like coding and stuff in it. So maybe they like, and maybe that is the case. I don't know. I've never played Roblox, but it's kind of another hint, I suppose, another piece in the puzzle. Sounds like I have a great mum. Yeah, I love my mum. Love my mum, simple as. Simple as. Let's see. All information that was regarding the church to the Rekieta family has now gone to the individual, as the responsible is not obtainable. Sorry, who goes to? Oh, so this, okay, so all the information has gone to the oldest son, as the response is no longer attainable from. So that means they talk to the children. All the information that is regarding the church to the Rekieta family has now gone to. That's a bit of weird wording. I'm not sure if that means. Maybe they question one of the children. They could be implying there. I'm not sure. I would need a legal person to weigh in on that one, but it's interesting detail. An anonymous person advised the pastor that they observed Nick being lethargic and appeared to be high or drugged while driving a car around. Now, he was saying in his DMs that no one has ever observed him being a drunk or high driver. This would perhaps disprove that. Another anonymous person advised that Nick will walk around randomly during sermons. Yeah, he gets bored. I think he mentioned that he gets bored. So he goes out, does a bit of some, instant wake-up snuff, and goes back in. Of course, you've got to make, Jesus gets a bit dull. And of course, as a devout Christian man who wanted to start a Christian podcast, not me, but Nick, of course, you need a bit of God's own, from the ground, in a weird, roundabout way, nose candy, Actually, yeah, cocaine's made from plants, right? Surely. It's made from coca. It's made from the coca leaves. Of course it is. How could it be bad if it's from the ground? Would be the argument, I suppose. Let me see. An anonymous individual has been advised that they have seen what seems to be described as an injection or track marks on Nick's arms. So that would go towards the injectable theory. Again, this could be bug bites. I think that if Nick was injecting, they would have confiscated some needles and stuff like that. Since that wasn't found in the initial search of the warrant, that's why I'm saying that. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they went to like a party or something and used someone else's injectables, which certainly could be the case. Anonymous individuals advised the pastor that they believe that Aaron and April are possibly assisting with some type of drug use with Nick and Rekieta. Now, Aaron says that it is the reverse, that in fact the Rekietas introduced them to the drugs. But you have to take Aaron's stuff with a grain of salt. Nicholas's blogging and views and subscribers are down, possibly resulting in financial issues. An anonymous person also advised the pastor that at one point, Nick and Kayla left with the steel toe couple to go to a casino, leaving their children alone, putting the eldest son, who was born in 2007, in charge. The pastor was unsure if this was suitable or not. So he's 16-year-old babysitting. I think that's actually okay. I think a lot of people get babysit when they're like by 16-year-olds. If this was in isolation, I'd give it a pass. No, not to the Keto Casino. But they're definitely beyond the Keto Casino, right? Like if this was just in isolation, like I'm going to the shop to buy groceries, so you look after the house, that's okay. But if you're leaving your eldest in charge so you can go gambling, getting high, and boning other people's wives, then that changes the calculus a little bit, in my opinion. Sorry. Anonymous person... let's see. The pastor advised that nobody told him anything about the possible neglect and or drug use. That nobody told him anything other. The pastor was told nothing other than possible neglect and drug use. There was no reports of any physical or SA, and that the kids were not in immediate danger at the time of this report. Well, thank God for that. At the very bare minimum, thank God for that. There was a different charge on Kayla's arrest details, which implied that there was some SA or physical abuse going on. That seems not to be the case. It's probably a typo, honestly, because it should be the same charges as Nick's charges. So it was a bit of a strange detail. But any sort of like detail that's so many people are looking over it with this a fine-tooth comb. So any little detail like that really sticks out like a sore thumb. I would assume and would hope that that is just a typo in the original document. But you never know. All right, let's see. The charges are controlled substance crime in the second degree, neglect or endangerment of a child, certain person not to possess firearms. So in Minnesota, you can own guns, but you can't own guns and be on drugs, which seems like I don't know. It seems a bit weird to me, honestly. Like if the Second Amendment exists, I don't know why this caveat should be there. Like people, if you can own guns and be drunk, I don't see why you can't get high and have guns. It might be a controversial take, but I don't see the through line there. It seems like just some legal mumbo jumbo. Honestly, I don't think that should be constitutional. Honestly, at least as an American, I'm not an American, but for Americans, I don't think that should be constitutional. Let's see. Evidence. The following items were located in the master bedroom near the nightstand. Yellow snort tube, positive for cocaine. Black vial with white substance inside. Nick tested positive for cocaine, and it's NIK, so I guess this is not Nick as in Rekieta, but it's a field testing kit, I imagine. Contents were removed from the black container and placed in a separate baggie weighing 2.2 grams of the bag, within the bag. So that means that they could probably get the weight under if they remove the packaging. 2 credit cards listed to April. A .22 spent caliber casing on the floor of the nightstand in the bedroom on the floor. The following items were also recovered. A AR rifle with several magazines and loose ammunition with a serial number, which I will not mention. Now, Nick has claimed that this was lying on the floor, but it had a lock through the barrel or some other mechanism to prevent it from being fired. Is that true? I don't know. I guess this will come out when the photos are released, and we'll be able to verify that statement. Following item was located in the master bedroom dresser. A glass container with a metal filter and a grinder and glass container. Positive for cocaine. The following items were located in a safe in the master bedroom. Bag with cards and a dollar bill. Positive for cocaine. Larger corner cut baggie with white powder. Positive for cocaine, weighing 18.9 grams with packaging. 3 small baggies that tested positive for cocaine, weighing 5.49 grams with packaging. Green colored tablets tested positive for ketamine, 8 dosage units. Now, since ketamine has been mentioned, I have to ask the chat. So there was a story from Aaron that said while they were swinging, Nick needed a little bit of assistance. He had to go downstairs and ask Aaron for a pill to make his dingus work. So I should ask the chat, what is a funnier, silly Nick name? Should it be Nick Reketamine or Dick Locator? Let me know in the chat. 1 for Reketamine, which is my favorite, honestly, and 2 for Dick Locator. Again, we have to break up these serious topics with a little bit of levity. Makes it help us out. Makes it help get through these serious things. That explains the Baldo. That unironically, that does explain the Baldo, because like the Baldo was first introduced obviously on Nick's stream. It was a bit of a laugh. We all thought it was pretty funny. Had a bit of a giggle. But the Baldo is a device where you put your balls into like a strange contraption so you can stick your balls into a woman's holes. But what was not mentioned and we learned later is that it is primarily for men that cannot get hard. So if you do have problems, if you are a dick locator and you need some help, you could use a Baldo to get past these embarrassing moments. Now, I think it's probably more embarrassing to put the Baldo on than to just have a soft cock in the bedroom. Like, you know, women are used to seeing soft cocks. They'll be like, oh, baby, it happens all the time. If you put a Baldo on, she's going to be like screaming and like, what the fuck is that? She's going to run out of that room. Anyway, so 8 dosage units of ketamine. Honestly, why do people do ketamine? It's like, I'm sure it's like the tiniest dose just kills you. So don't do it. It's actually quite terrifying. Digital scale tested positive for cocaine. There's actually like so there was this meme that show up last night when Nick was going mad in the chat, in the private DMs, where you've got the Niji Sanji meme, but it's been repurposed to the lawyers saying to Rekieta, shut up. And someone very cleverly has replaced the scales of law with these drug scales. That's a very clever, very little subtle edit. I guess the truth was in plain sight all along, but we just didn't notice. Also, Zach with a $5 dues. Thank you very much. He says, we all have our addictions. Mine is super chatting. Well, I wish the entire chat was addicted to super chatting. Although I made sure there was no super chat powder on my nose before I sent this message. Well, I appreciate those $5 real, which is worth like 1,000 yen in Japan, because the yen is like, the yen is down in the toilet. Oh, did I miss that one from, I think I missed one by the Singaporean dollars one, did I? I'll have to go in and check that at the end. I just unstarted it, so I can't go up and see it. If someone did, could they screenshot it and perhaps send it to me? and then I'll try it if I missed it. The one with the duck. You know who you are, the duck boy. I saw it for a second, but then it kind of went past me. I usually don't have this many people, so I have to get used to it a little bit. It's a little bit different. What is this? Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, there you are. Sorry, Billy. 2 short tubes and 2 metal cutters. Snort tubes tested positive for cocaine. The following items were located in the safe. $100 bill with white residue, positive for cocaine. White bag with white powder substance, positive for cocaine. Cocaine scooper. What do they mean by cocaine scooper? Is that like a branded? They didn't test. It doesn't say tested positive for cocaine. Is it like a? Does it say cocaine scooper 3000 or something? Who can say? Baggies. God damn you guys. Hold on. I missed a super chat apparently by Anime Sucks Cope and Sneed. Okay, very good. You got me. Very good. Let's see. There was a bags of the funnels. There was an unknown brown substance, negative on all field tests. Unknown brown set. So what is this brown substance? Kind of people suggesting it might be Molly or something. I'm not sure what this brown substance is. Hopefully it's just not just shit. The following items are located in the safe. Springfield Armory 45 caliber, a handgun, and caliber magazines full of ammunition. So he was prepared. Good for him. Not going to be much use now that he's probably going to have to surrender all of his weapons, but well, it'd be nice for the police to have for their collection, I suppose. The following items are located within the garage, or car hall, as we call it in Australia. Ammunition for the garage, including a 45 and 223 ammo. This is what makes me think that the spent casing was actually a 223 and not a 22. The following items are located in the master closet. 45 caliber bullet. Total weight of measurable cocaine, 26.67 grams while packaging. That's just under an ounce. That's a lot of cocaine. I think that someone calculated it's like $3,000 worth of cocaine. I'm not exactly sure because I am not a drug user, but I drink a little bit sometimes. Kitty says, with $2 dues, here's monies, not for nose use. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. And Zach says, for another $2, my next rock band will be named Nick Reketamine. There you go. It just rolls off the tongue. Digital evidence. And we went through that earlier, but they're going to be releasing digital photographs, audio recording, body cam footage ×9, and a PowerPoint from Nick's show with his white nose dipped in the powder. Perhaps it's just jelly donuts. We never, well, not jelly donuts, it'd be powdered donuts, but who knows. Documents, application for the search warrant of Nick Rekieta. Let's see. So I, the detective Quinn, have been made aware of Sergeant Dave of Family Service report from mandated reporter regarding Nick Rekieta and Kayla. I reviewed Sergeant's report on the 22nd of May and was reviewing further information in relation to this investigation. After reviewing the information, I applied for a search warrant for their house, which is their residence. It sounds weird because I'm editing out in real time. As well as a search of Nick himself. The following information in relation to the follow-up investigation, please refer to the search warrant. It is arranged that on the 23rd of the 5th, deputies would meet in a predetermined location and eventually travel to the house. Now, there was at least 9. I believe there was more. So quite a lot of people. This was a serious search. We traveled to the area, and while almost to the residence, we observed a black-colored Lincoln vehicle with Nicholas in the driver's seat traveling southbound. Now, that is their, I think it was a Lincoln Navigator, I want to say. He like was mentioning it on a stream. He bought it recently. Apparently, car prices are really, really high at the moment. I guess this one they probably won't be needing for much longer. Let's see. He was traveling southbound as they were traveling northbound. Sergeant Nestor was advised to stop Nick and detain him as part of the search warrant, and his person was to be searched, which Sergeant Nestor did. Now, I thought they actually planned to catch him out of the house. Like, if you know that this guy probably has like a lot of guns, not that I think that he would open fire on the police or anything. Well, I mean, he might if he was on some sort of crazy combination of drugs, right? But hopefully not. Hopefully not. He'll still have the good sense not to do that. I've heard some suggestions that they planned to get him while he was out of the house and then return him back to his home so that he would not be able to have quick access to those weapons. It seems like it was just a fortuitous circumstance for them. The rest of the above-mentioned officers then continued traveling to the address to execute the search warrant. We arrived at approximately 9:13 a.m. Chief Deputy stayed and went to a traffic stop with Sergeant Nestor. When we arrived on scene, we started knocking on the door on the south side of the residence and were able to gain a response from a young female juvenile from inside the residence, who advised us that her dad advised her not to open the door for strangers. Good girl. Good girl. And at least Nick did tell his kids that. That is good for them. Let's see. We knocked for several moments, indicating we were law enforcement and trying to speak with the juvenile to come open the door. We noted that there was a keypad on the door and attempted to make radio contact with either chief, sergeant, and when I overheard the radio communication from the sergeant advising that Nick was not going to give us the door code to open the door. Now, people have suggested that this is so he can say this is absolutely not a consent to search. And I don't know if this is a good idea or not, but it's probably like a neutral decision, I would say. Like, they did have a search warrant. So I think that implying that they allowed him to get in doesn't matter. But I guess if you want to maintain that this was a unlawful search, and maybe if you're going to challenge the search warrant, not giving them any information, not giving them any consent is a good idea. I'd say I would say this is probably a good idea, but I don't know that much about the law. This was several moments. And an appropriate time for an adult to make it to the door. At which time the detective, utilizing a ram, opened the door. So they busted down the door. There's 5 kids. I think only 4 kids were home at the time. Maybe they had just dropped off one of the kids, and that's why Nick was coming back. That would make sense to me. But I believe that just 4 of them were home at the time. I think the eldest son wasn't there. Ram Ranch, no. Let's see. So they busted down the door. While making entry into the residence, I observed as Sergeant Swanson was standing in the kitchen and making commands for someone to walk towards him. I was holding onto the stairway to the downstairs and observed 2 females come from the hallway on the northern part of the residence towards Sergeant. They were detained and brought outside. There were 2 children located in the upstairs floor. We were advised that there was 1 child downstairs by the mother. The other female who was detained was April, the ex-wife, or I guess she's still married to him technically, but Aaron, the other swinging thruple, polycule, whatever you want to call its wife, the home-wrecking woman. I mean, Nick probably instigated all this, but she's the third wheel. They were moved outside, and eventually, while making loud commands into the basement from the top of the stairs, I observed a juvenile male walk out. I advised him to walk up the stairs, which he complied, and went out and stood with his mother. I continued searching the residence as we located an additional juvenile female in the basement bedroom who was apparently sleeping. I advised her to walk out the room with me to her mum, which she agreed to do. She held my hand as we walked outside. I don't know. They like. I just got hit by. I was just like, shit. Just like the visual image of that is like really depressing. It's like really, really depressing. Like just the image of like a police officer. They've just battered down to your house, and then the kids holding their hands as they walk up the stairs to where their parents are being detained. Like this is like the real like even if you're like a nose guarding guy in the chat. It's fine if you want to defend the people you like, I don't see the point in it at this point, but like, regardless of anything that happened, if this was a government conspiracy, if this was, all a misunderstanding and it was just some harmless drug use and the kids were fed and they weren't neglected, Nick's actions have caused this situation to occur. These children will always remember the day that the police came, arrested mummy and daddy, and took them away to, I believe, probably their grandparents or something. I don't know, like the closest relatives. That's something they will never forget. And that's because he failed in his duties as a father. His lifestyle, indulging in pleasure and hedonism, when you have a responsibility, caused this to happen. And there's no one else's fault. It's not Kiwi Farm's fault. It's not Aaron's fault. It's not the drugs' fault. It's not the whiskey's fault. It's his decisions that did this. That's what you have to remember. Like, I don't really have a problem with people using drugs. I don't use drugs myself. And I'm kind of on the camp that I think that we could probably delegalize basically all things in the world and let people make their own decisions. And if they want to ruin their life, that's their freedom to do so. I'm pretty much in that camp. But when you're a parent, when you're a father, you don't have the freedom to do that because you have the responsibility to someone that had no choice to come into this world. Children don't choose to be born. You choose to have children. So you owe them everything until they are adults. Yeah, if you want to argue with me on delegalization, that's fine. Like I wouldn't use, even if they were delegalized, I probably wouldn't use them. But people should have the freedom to destroy their own lives. That's part of freedom. You don't need laws if you're doing everything the government wants you to do. You need laws to make the bad decisions, right? To keep your freedoms in place. And part of freedom is accepting that people are going to make the wrong choices. And if you want to make the wrong choices, that's fine. But if you're a parent, your choices are second. MLS says meme telling it like it is. Thank you very much. I think so. I think so. Gen X, member for 17 months. Holy shit, that's a long time. He says, hey all, a few more peeps in chapter here. Like and sub. Yes, you can like and subscribe. It does help out. And John Byrne, member for 13 months. Put what you're reading on the stream. So the reason it's not on the stream is that the children's names and various other parties are named in this document, and I didn't have time to redact them. I know that other streams have done that with the names on screen, and it's going to become like, it's such a publicized case that it's going to be out there immediately, and you could find them right now if you really wanted to. But I think the one thing that I can do is at least not put the kids' names on stream. That's the one thing I can. So that's why I'm not showing what I'm reading. But if you want to see it for yourself, you can. It's pretty easy to find, and a lot of people have been talking about it. Alrighty, where were we? 4 children were placed outside with their mother, as well as April. The children located at the residence were children's names, and they advised the sergeant and chief deputy that they were going to have Nick travel back to their residence as we executed the search warrant. We continued clearing the residence and were able to have the residence secured. The residence was extremely cluttered. There were clothes everywhere, dirty dishes, dust, and an overall dirty home. Homes do get dirty, and to the degree this is actually true, we're going to find out. When I first read this, I thought that, like, of course the police are going to put this in here because it makes their case sound better, and that's their job. But, you know, the good thing is that we won't have to speculate on this because the photos are part of the evidence that's going to be released. The body cam footage is part of what's going to be released. And we know that at this point in the story, the kids are all outside, so there'll be no reason to blur any of the stuff on the inside. So we're going to know exactly what the house looked like. And Nick has said that the cops are lying. The house wasn't dirty, or maybe there's just maybe they just didn't do laundry that day. It was laundry day the next day or something. Nick has said the house was clean. We'll find out. We'll find out. We'll find out in a few days. We'll find out in a few days. We'll find out. That's the interesting thing about this, is that we will find out very, very soon. It might seem like a long way away, but it's only like a week or maybe 10 days. I overheard Nick arguing with the chief deputy in front of the house, demanding that he receive a copy of the search warrant, which at that time I handed him a copy of the search warrant. I saw him look at it and eventually throw it on the ground. So it's almost like that sovereign citizen moment, like, you show me the law that says you can go to my house. Here you go. Shit. Like, in that moment, he probably realized that this is when everybody's going to be talking about this. Everybody's going to be accessing the mug shots, the court files. Everybody's going to know everything. This is the moment. This is the moment he knew he fucked up. Let me see. The house was very large, almost 5,000 square feet. We started searching the master bedroom, where almost immediately the detective located a snort tube and a black vial on top of 2 credit cards. This is actually quite disturbing to me, because if it's so easy to find, that means that the kids could have wandered in there and found it very quickly as well. And yeah, maybe there's a rule that, like, don't go into mom and dad's bedroom. Kids break that rule all the time. And if you even watch Nick's stream for even a few episodes, you'll know that kids busting into his room when he's streaming, which is not allowed in their household, happens almost every episode. So of course the kids are going to go in and ask their parents stuff, because that's what they do. That's what children do, is when they get into a dispute, no matter what they've been told, like, leave daddy alone, he's working, they always come and say, hey, what's going on? And from Aaron's own stories, he said that the kids knocked on the bedroom door and said, hey, daddy, can we have some food to eat? And because Nick, the wife, and Kayla were so strung out, he's like, you know what, I'll make some SpaghettiOs for you or some shit, which is terrible. SpaghettiOs, the kids can have SpaghettiOs sometimes as a treat, but the fact that another man is cooking for you instead of your parents, and that they're all sleeping in the same bed too at this point. If you didn't realize that, as part of Aaron's story, if you hadn't heard that, he said that they all slept in the big bed together, king-sized. Certainly living like a king, I suppose, but more like Caligula, I suppose, than a king. Well, I guess he's a Caesar, isn't he? Let me see. 5,000 square feet. Those items listed above, the snort tube, everything tested positive for cocaine. Around the time I walked outside to speak with Nick, I requested him to speak with me. I advised him of his Miranda warning. He agreed to speak with me and he waived his right to counsel. He explained to me that he may not answer certain questions. The conversation was recorded on my body camera. During the conversation with Nick, he advised that he sleeps in the master bedroom with his wife and Kayla, and that April was just visiting on this date. As apparently she was just up there for deer hunting. She's a deer hunter, apparently, and there was no degeneracy going on. Yeah, I'm going to press X to doubt on that one. I'm going to press X to doubt. Also, if you join as a channel member, you do get access to these custom emojis that we made. It does help out too, so consider it. Consider it. It does help. It does help. At this time, we determined that Nick, Kayla, and April would all be placed under arrest and transported to the county jail by the deputies. By shit, you can't make this shit up. Hold on a second. This is when I'm starting to think that meme magic is actually real. They were to be transported to the county jail by marked county deputies as well as state trooper Josh Monsoon. Really? You're telling me this isn't Josh Moon undercover as a state trooper? Josh Monsoon? Really? It's too perfect, too perfect. While placing Nicholas in the state trooper squad, I observed several injuries on his arm and photographed them. All right, so there you go. Everyone that's arguing with me, everyone that's been arguing with me that they're definitely track marks and not mosquito bites, we'll find out. It's going to be part of the photographs. That's actually a very interesting detail. They appeared to be sores common with controlled substance users. Alicia Sweep. They've actually got sweeping. Sweeping is in this very document. There's Josh Monsoon, and then the very next sentence is sweeps. Sweeps with the county family services was contacted and eventually came to the scene to assist with placing the children with their grandparents. Well, that's nice. Good for them to be with family. Better than being with a foster family. And the grandparents are apparently rich, like oil rich. I'm not sure which grandparents are the oil rich ones, but hopefully it's the rich ones. Josh Monsoon is the same officer that gave Rekieta a speeding ticket. Is that true? That's interesting. That is very interesting. He can't keep getting away with it. He can't keep getting away with it. I mean, the officer. I mean, Nick's not getting away with it now. During the time, detective advised me that she spoke with... they've got lady detectives now? What a world. They spoke with Kayla regarding giving a statement, at which time Kayla advised that she wanted to have an attorney. A real attorney, not her husband. I mean, he's just not practicing right. Detective Sergeant attempted to take a statement from April. After reading her Miranda warnings, she indicated she also wanted an attorney. Deputies continued to search the residence of the above-listed physical evidence and was located and taken into the custody. Arrangements were made that the grandparents were going to secure the residence. We were able to close the door and documented the damage to the door. That'll actually be interesting as well. All officers left the scene at approximately 11:05 a.m. I traveled back to the law enforcement center with the above listed evidence that was processed and placed into the county evidence system. I went to the county jail and requested Nick to speak with me. He indicated he was willing to do so. So the lawyer, so April's like, no, I want to wait for I won't speak without an attorney. Kayla, I won't speak with an attorney. The one lawyer is the one that decides, I will speak with you, my dear friend. Of course I will. Why not? I can speak my way out of anything. I've read a book on how to talk to people, so I'm a very, very good at dialoguing, and I can definitely tell when a person has autism. So talking to the police, I'm great at it. Yes, good job, good job. And this is where he makes a statement that he would not talk about the cocaine, but he explained that he's extremely stressed in regards to these kids and their extra activities. Please see audio recording for further detail. That's going to be a bombshell, I think. Where's that picture? I would have got away with it if it weren't for these meddling kids. These damn kids. Look, he's like, officer, look, you have to understand. I may have 26 grams of cocaine, but I've got 5 kids, all right? You know, sometimes the human body can only survive stress at like this level. And, you know, sometimes my stress is like this. But when you drink cocaine, it puts your tolerance of stress up to here. Look, officer, you just don't understand. These damn kids, these meddling kids. Yeah, it's their fault. Those damn children. They chose to be born. They chose to be born. They chose to be born, and they ruined my swinger lifestyle. Those damn kids. Let's see. I was advised after this interview that Sweep had contacted with the wife and was requesting if the live-in nanny would be able to assist with anything at the residence. She advised Kayla that technically April was their live-in nanny. So the old nanny was fired, the competent one, that one that was 4 years. Although I'm not sure if she was competent, but she was spending $3,000 on snacks, so that's a bit dubious, but I'm not sure. I provided a copy of the Rekieta's a copy of law enforcement hold order for each of the children and placed it in their jail property. End of that part report. Okay. Digital evidence. This is an additional thing. Squad car video and body cam video. So I guess we should be obtaining also the car evidence, the car cam evidence. Interesting. I have not read this one. Let's have a look. On the 23rd of May, Sergeant Nestor of the Sheriff office assisted at a drug search warrant. While en route, we found, I was advised by the detective to stop a motor vehicle, and that is their Lincoln. I think this is kind of a repeat of, actually, I think that is the end. No, sorry, there actually is an important part here. Sorry. But we're getting to the end of this. This is actually there's another like tearjerker at the end of this one, actually. Let's see. So we pulled over the black Lincoln. The driver was identified as Nick. I advised Nick about the warrant and the search of his person. At that time, a chief deputy was with me. Nick was advised of the warrant was signed by a judge. It is important to note that the judge that signed this warrant was the same judge that he has mocked, has apparently yelled at in an elevator, and also has talked about drinking beer out of her vagina or some shit. So she's also looking over his civil case and now his criminal case. As he is in ongoing lawsuit with Montegraph on the defamation. Pretty bad. That not a great judge to have you. It's really like there's another Lionel Hutz clip from The Simpsons where it's like, ooh, we got Judge Schneider. It's like, do you have a bad history with him? Well, since I run over his son like several times, yes. It's not looking good, Nick Bros. I'm afraid it's not looking good out there. Let me see. I advised detective. Sorry. Oh wait, there's a little bit of a spicy comment on here. Actually, let's see. At that time, chief deputy was with me. Nick was advised the warrant was signed by a judge. His response was, "That doesn't mean shit." Actually, if a judge signs a warrant, that means the warrant's valid. But I'm not a lawyer, so it does mean something. But his response was, that doesn't mean shit, and wanted the probable cause for a warrant. While conversing with this topic, the detective was asking for a door code, so they did not have the breach the door at the residence. Nick was advised that he was not. Nick advised me that he was not giving me shit, as he hadn't seen the warrant, and then they gave him the warrant, and he threw it on the ground. I checked Nick's on his person. He was wearing flip-flops, shorts, and a shirt. He had an ID, credit cards in his wallet. At that time, he went back to his vehicle, which was also with his daughter. So his daughter got to see him get pulled over in the passenger seat, as he was presumably taking her to school. I thought they were homeschooled, but I guess it's kind of. I think that the officer probably doesn't understand what's going on, because I'm pretty sure just the two older boys go to school, but I'm not sure. Who knows? We went back to the residence, and I assisted at the scene by standing near Nick and Kayla, April, and the 4 children, and they are mentioned, but I will not read their names. While assisting and keeping the 4 children occupied outside the residence, the youngest daughter, I believe, when asked about getting clothes, wanted new clothes, as she made reference to the fact that she had been wearing these clothes for more than a day. I was asked to transport Kayla to the Coyote jail and advised her that she had been placed under arrest. I put restraints on her and checked her for tightness, double locked, etc., etc. That's the end of the report. So I'm not sure if this is the same girl that was sleeping downstairs and got taken up by the police, like holding the cop's hand, but the kid literally, in view of the parents, the youngest child says, "Hey, can I change my clothes? I don't want to smell." Jesus Christ. Oh dear. All right. That is the end of that document. Excumer with 200 Corona says, May, please read Parallax's comment. God damn it, not again. Also, is Max not on the case? I'm sure the most dark secrets will be revealed in a matter of days. Hope it does not include horror-inducing takes of classical movies as prawn. I don't think so. I think for whatever they did do or didn't do, it seems like this is just neglect. So that's, I guess, fortunate. Check DMs. Sure, I'll check DMs. Hold on a second. What is this? All right, we'll read this one. We'll have a look at this. All right. But it's something to break up the mood a bit. Pause. Anime sucks cope and sneed. What did you mean by that, Mr. Rekieta? Let it play for the jury. Anime sucks cope and sneed. Again, here's you slumped in the corner saying anime sucks cope and sneed. Let's move on to the clip labeled clip number 5, labeled Anime Sucks Cope and Sneed 11. Oh dear. Dear, oh dear. Don't do drugs. Okay. Yeah, that is good advice. Don't do drugs. Thank you for the 2, and thank you for the 200 coronas. Much appreciated. This is probably the largest stream I've ever done, actually. Be sure to like the stream, as it does help out. Even if it's a sad topic, liking the stream shows the support and helps get the algorithm working. I do have a quick, silly question for the chat. Who would you rather have as a neighbor? Now, Nick is a skunk drowner, as I understand it, but let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this. Who would you rather have as a neighbor? On the left, you have alcoholic, drug addict, owns a sex dungeon. This is factually inaccurate. He wanted to get a sex dungeon built, but the contractor said no. Friends with videophile and juju. That's biggest problem on the internet, guys. Doesn't wash. Spent shell casings lying around. Raging narcissist. Makes unfunny racist jokes. You know, that's the worst thing about Rekieta, I think, is that he's ruined racism for me. It used to be fun and silly and cool, but now he's just like made it cringe. That's the real crime here. Swinger, random couples out and about. So that's you got on the left. On the right, you have the skunk, cute, nocturnal, won't bother you, does not befriend PDF files, probably smells better, eats pests such as locusts and rats, does not wear a baldo, probably a better lawyer too. Now, if you this is obviously a reference to the ongoing meme about like, would women rather stay with a man or a bear? And then there's there was another one where like, men, would you rather speak to a tree or a woman? But the reason there's a skunk versus Nick is that he lives out in the wilderness, and he got a skunk in his in a trap one day, and he didn't know how to kill it, so he just threw the entire cage into the pond and just let it drown instead of just taking out his not 22, I suppose, and just ending the skunk instantly. He let it drown in a cage, like literally like a witch being tested to see if it was an evil creature or something. So that's the deepest lore on that one, as I have been following this story for a very long time. We might take a look at some other stuff now. We might take a look at another stuff. All right. I'll go through these, make sure I've got everything. I'll leave this one open. Leave that one open. And I'll just check these. There we go. All right. So, Vic Mignogna, the anime voice actor who spoke out against Funimation, saying he was being Me Too'd, was supposed to appear on Alex Stein 99, kind of, internet shock jock. I'm sure you've seen him, his show. But Vic decided that in light of the news about Nick, he was going to cancel his appearance. And I think that realistically, Vic was probably never going to dish out dirt on Nick. Of course, a lot of people are blaming Nick, and more specifically Ty Beard, who Nick recommended, for he fucked up the case. He forgot to notarize things. He notarized things incorrectly. He tried to play like chicken with the dates, and he ended up costing Vic like $200,000-$300,000, something like that. And Nick always talked about him being a nice guy. He always talked about him being a nice guy. But Aaron has said, now he doesn't say it in this clip. He seems to avoid mentioning it. Like it seems like he was going to mention it, but he's changed his story a little bit from when he was on the Kino Casino, because I did watch that in its entirety. But Aaron has implied that Nick and him would joke a bit about how gay Vic was, and that it's Vic's fault that he lost the court case, which is insane. because I know they recommended the guy that fucked up the case to him. So I might take a quick look at this Alex Stein interview. So here we go. I'm going to skip to about 10 minutes in, because this is the first encounter of, I guess, the Steel Toe and Nick. So we've got about 10 minutes in. This is on Alyssa Clips' channel, but obviously it's Prime Stein, Alex Nine's content. I'm going to watch it 1.25 speed because I want to go through this. It's like a 40-minute video, but I don't think we'll go through the entire thing. Maybe just like the mid section is what I thought we'd listen to.
Well, listen, Aaron, like I said, I really respect how honest you're being, but you, and I really respect you too for saying that, you know, you're not innocent in all this. But let's go back to how this started. You guys, do we have the Chrissy Mayer clip, guys? Do we have that? Where let's talk
we'll pull it up.
Let's pull that clip up. So this is the first time Nick and I was on the stream. I was on the stream. That's the first time Nick and April technically digitally met. Is that the first time? I think we're gonna play the clip. Do we have it?
And this is gonna happen. This is gonna be a thing.
Okay, so this is Chrissy connecting the dots.
So.
Yeah, but I already DM'd your husband, so we're gonna make this thing work out.
I think I remember seeing this actually. So this is Chrissy Mayer Simpcast, I believe.
Good deal.
Hey, look. What is this? A crossover episode? A blast from the past. You've got Farron Balanced in there. Is this before or after they had their drunk stream? There was a funny thing that happened between these two, and I like Farron. She was a nice chick. We hang out from time to time, chat about shit. But then she disappeared from the internet, and she thinks she's got a real job now. I don't know. But they used to hang out on streams quite a bit, and they would drink. And there was a very famous drunk stream between Nick and Farron. And at that time, Farron was messaging a guy who may have seen in the chat today. I think I did see him. And in these tweets, in these private messages, she says that Nick was hitting on her and suggesting that his wife was into swinging and kind of testing the waters thing. And at this time, I was thinking like, at this time I can remember, I was full on copium at this time. I was huffing it, like liquid oxygen, huffing it. I don't know. You can't really huff liquid oxygen. But never mind. But I remember seeing those. I was like, it's probably like an exaggeration. Maybe it was just like, so a bit of nighttime naughty flirting or something. But in retrospect, all this stuff kind of makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. But it's kind of funny to see it pop up like randomly like that.
Oh, I do hot tub streams on my locals. And I tell you when it's this could have been really bad. I would have had no idea.
Also, being from Minnesota, I can confirm you're correct about the cold wind and shit.
Yeah. Wait, are you in Minnesota also?
Hell yeah. I think my husband Aaron.
Is that a vagina within a state's boundary of me? Hello. It's kind of funny because like my friend BP, we saw the drunk clip between them, and he said like, "Why is that dude hitting on her?" And I was like, nah, they're just friends. Surely not. But he was right all along. Very insightful guy, apparently.
Had you on our show?
Or maybe it was just really obvious.
Or you were on his show. You two did something together. But yeah, we live in Minnesota.
So
you know.
Yeah, that's enough of it. So from the start, Nick was hitting on April in a way right there. I mean, would you say that he was being a little flirtatious, Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, like, what kind of yes, he was, but she was so into it. He said, "I have a hot tub." She's like, "Ooh, you just go to a hot pool. It's fine." Okay.
Well, absolutely. I think Nick was being quite a bit flirtatious. And, throughout this whole thing, thoughts creep into your head and you wonder, like, was there anything going on before the other stuff was going on? I don't know. I'm sure it's just part of, me reliving the last 6 months in my head. I don't know if there were ever any opportunities to, but yeah, the whole thing it makes you question just about everything. What's real and what isn't.
And then how fast did it snowball? Because the story you said, and I've watched a lot of it, because people are going to be like, Alex, why are you covering this? Well, I'm covering this because I'm actually interested in it. And when I make content, I try to make content that I would watch. And I've been watching all of your interviews. And basically,
I mean, like, of course, everybody's covering this. Why wouldn't you? Like, make no mistake. Like, people saying that you shouldn't be covering this is completely hypocritical. Because what is Lawtube if not just watching people at their lowest point? Johnny Depp was not entitled to this privacy. Amber Heard was not entitled to this privacy when she was shitting on Johnny's bed. Why should there be any privacy? This is like, I mean, I can understand if it's your if he's your friend, right? If he's your friend, if you know him personally, I understand that. You know, you can be a good friend and a bad father or a neglectful parent at the same time. Those two things can exist at the same time. But the people close to him need to tell him that he has to repent, give up these vices he's obviously under the control of, and make a real change for the better of his children. Whatever it is, whatever sacrifice it takes, because that's what matters. Legal Mindset is single-handedly felting all of Lawtube. Yeah, there's like a little bit of a Lawtube civil war going on about the people who have have common sense and those that are nose guarding because Nick gave them a bit of a bump. Like, I think like so far what I've seen, like I've seen Nate's takes have been pretty based. Of course, Sean's been pretty based, and Andrew's been pretty based as well. I think a lot of people misunderstood his stream though. Like he did a stream where he was talking about Barnes's crazy constitutional thing, and it was titled like "This is Nick's best defense." I think a lot of people thought they were saying that like this is a great defense. That's not the case. It's like it's a terrible strategy, but it's the best one he has on offer for getting innocent. I think that was the implication there. But I think a lot of people kind of got stuck in the details a little bit there. Barnes blocked you? Really? Just cause you got blocked? Good Logic? I haven't seen any of Good Logic shit. I tried to go into one of his streams, but he was trying to tell me that the speed of light isn't real and time travel doesn't exist, which I agree kind of with. But I heard so much bad facts about black holes and time dilation and the speed of light. It drove me insane. And I don't think I can go back in there for a little while. It's honestly very, very frustrating to hear him talk about the speed of light. But I'm sure he's very good on the legal matters, just not on the physics matters. But there you are. There you go.
When was the start of the sexual stuff? They wanted to buy April a birthday present, and you guys went to a sex store, and that's where it was. That was later. Oh, that was later. Okay, so how did it happen? Because I know now from what you said, you've gotten very close with Kayla, Nick's wife, that you've had an effect.
I don't believe this part, by the way. Like, I think that, like, Aaron has been so thoroughly cut and emasculated. He's literally sweeping up their house and getting them snacks. That I think his entire story about Kayla falling in love with him is completely made up. Or it was a drug-fueled fever dream, and he's remembering the details incorrectly, or perhaps Kayla was just so high at the time. He's like, oh, I love you, man. You're my soulmate. You know, something like that. Aaron's story, I definitely think he's trying to talk himself up in this. Like, it sounds kind of ridiculous. I think he's kind of tempered it down a little bit. Like, his first showing on the Kino Casino was, like, boisterous. He's like, he was trying to imply he's, like, the hero, like, but also his survivor's guilt, like, I got out, but I wish I could have got just one more person out. If I could have got Kayla out, this ring, I could have got April out. This watch, I could have got the. No, he was being a bit, laying on a bit thick. I mean, it was entertaining for sure. I definitely believe that the swinging happened. I definitely believe they were wife swapping. But this whole, like, he's telling a few tall tales. He's like buying her action figures of Star Trek. He's buying her retro fridges and shit. I don't know. I don't know what to believe here, Aaron. I don't know.
Action for her, that you enjoyed your time with her, and that you, I know
everybody got close to everybody, man. It was really at its height, at its peak. We were all convinced that this could work as like a 4-person polyamorous thing. Now, obviously, that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There is no way that these new age polycule thruple things work. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. And moreover, if you're a single couple, like, what is it, dual income, no kids, dinks or whatever, then you want to swing around, do whatever you want. But if you've got kids, don't involve them in this shit, because there is no way you can hide it. And one of your responsibilities as a parent is to demonstrate how a proper relationship operates, how you should treat your wife, how you should treat your husband, how you should treat those around you. You don't show this to your children by everyone staying in the big master bedroom and just treating it like a party palace. Coke everywhere, spent shell casings, like snacks coming in and out, $3,000 worth of snacks in the mini fridge or some shit. That's not demonstrating by example for your children. It's impossible. I will say it's impossible to raise children correctly if they're around in these situations. They're going to be fucked up. So wait, either don't do it or wait till they're 18 and out of the house. And then you can fuck around and do whatever you want, okay? Or just don't have kids if you're going to be a degenerate.
Hey, dude, that's crazy.
that can't work. There is a part of me, dude. I think I told you. There's a part of me that feels like I left a cult in a weird way because we were all kind of drinking the Kool-Aid, and you know, it got crazy.
What's the craziest it got? What's the craziest it got when Nick couldn't get his when he had an erectile dysfunction issue?
I don't know. I mean, look.
This is the dick locator part of the stream.
Look, there's
because that's pretty bad, Aaron. Didn't he, you're telling me a story?
I mean, like if you're on all these sorts of drugs, though, I assume there would be problems. Fortunately, I've never done any of these, so I don't know.
I think you said that April said that he had an erectile dysfunction. Is that true? Is that, or can you elaborate on that?
I can't tell you what happened with Nick. I can just tell you that April came up to me and asked me for an aid of some sort.
Who banged whose wife better? Did you bang Kayla better, or did he bang April better?
Alex, I don't know.
You know.
That's an answer in and of itself, isn't it? Come on now, Aaron. If you don't know the answer, then you know the answer.
I'd like to think that
I do okay for myself.
I'm sure he would like to think that, but that don't make it true.
Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this though, Aaron. Is I'm not a Boy Scout. When you're using cocaine, it makes it hard to have sexual function. For some people, they use like methamphetamine. They say they can do more sex, but really, in general, it causes impotence. That's a normal thing. So maybe did you know that he had a limp dick and you weren't even worried about him banging April the whole time because you knew he was so cracked out? And then you were not on the cocaine, so you were able to pleasure his wife.
Alex,
that's a good point. I love how Nick is the one with ED, but he's the one with the ED meds. I do actually have the answer to what Aaron would say to this. So Aaron said, actually, I believe this was part of the Kino Casino clips, or perhaps it was the one he went on the next one. I'm not sure which show he went on to reset it. I think he was saying that because he had never done any of this crazy shit before, he was worried about anxiety problems, so he took it just in case. But you are correct in saying that, like, if he had it already, why did he have it already? A good question. Good point, Ty. Very observant.
I know you and Nick don't like each other.
I like Nick. Nick doesn't like me. I don't have any beef with Nick. I hope Nick gets clean. I wish Nick the best. He's welcome on the show.
I do too. I absolutely hope he gets clean. He needs to, for the sake of his children.
But you banged his wife better than he banged hers, is what you're saying.
I didn't say that, Alex.
The laughter in the background really tells it all. Nobody believes his story.
Don't want, I've said too much already on that.
You haven't said enough. You haven't said. Did you? How?
The Kino Casino made Aaron say on their show, "I am Aaron and I got felted." They asked him to say it, and they weren't expecting him to do it. Then he did it himself. They didn't make him do it. He was reveling in the humiliation. I almost wonder if he has a humiliation fetish. But it would probably track going on how this. It would make sense. It would make sense. But I can't believe he did that. That was ridiculous. I thought they were just going to move on. I think PPP and Warski were ready to move on to the next segment. But then he looks at the camera. And he says the line. I couldn't believe it.
Here did it get? Did she ever do a rim job or anything like that? How far did she take it?
No.
Because that's
Alex,
the ultimate. That's the most disgusting thing you can do. Did she ever? Because you know what?
That's true. That's true. Don't do that shit. You get worms or something. I don't know.
If I'm being honest, just from the outside looking, I've done a lot of research. I think you were manipulated the most because I think you were the nice guy. Like you could tell April, you guys are content creators. He has a big channel. He's done this with every Lawtuber on the internet. He has a big channel. People want to get a part of his audience. That's normal when it comes to creating content. You want people to see your content. That's like the first rule of creating it. So I do think that he manipulates people, by saying, "Oh, well, I have this big channel. I'm popular. I've had all this super chat money." And I feel like a little bit, you're not a victim, but you were victimized a little bit in that Nick kind of threw his wife on you to try to manipulate you in a weird way, to try to make you seem like a man.
What is he like throwing at her? Like he's like a deployable goblin? Like, go get her. Go get him. No, I think Alex is just having a bit of a laugh here. Like, come on. You were manipulated into this? No, you chose this fate. You chose the cuckening. You get what you deserve.
And like, you won't bang my wife? This Drexel guy supposedly did it. I supposedly wear a baldo. Like, if you didn't do it, it makes you look like the cuck kind of in a weird way.
Look, you run through all possibilities in your head when something like this happens. And I'd like to think that everything was genuine that happened, but I'm not going to, again, you're kind of getting me at my most vulnerable. And,
Let it out. Because you said with Gino, you don't need to lie.
The only reason I'm holding back is because I feel like with the affection and stuff, I've said a lot already. And it's not like I don't like the women involved.
You like Kayla. It seems like you still have feelings for Kayla, if I'm being honest.
That ship has sailed, but I do want her to get, but she has 5 children, for God's sake. I do want all this to be behind them. April too. I want it all to be behind.
Kayla have a loose vaginal canal from all the children?
Jesus. Alex really has no chill. Holy shit. This is devastating.
No.
It was still tight? It was still tight?
Hey, look, vaginas are very elastic. They can have all kinds of kids and still be tight, okay? The hot dog, like throwing a hot dog down a hallway thing, that's just a meme. Okay, trust me. Well, I mean, you can't trust me firsthand, but I know a little bit about medical science and vaginas, and they're very elastic, as I understand.
Look, everybody was
5 kids is a lot, Aaron. 5 kids is a lot. Did you have to go into another hole, the bonus hole, as they call it?
no, Alex. Excuse me, Howard. No,
No, you know,
Women do need to do Kegels though, if they want. They do need to do that though. I'll just say that. Just don't forget them. You've got to strengthen that pelvic floor. Exactly. You can strengthen it again. There is a lot of women that'll go to the gym with very weak pelvic floors and they'll try and do a deadlift and they'll just end up pissing themselves because they didn't realize that they've been sitting down in a desk job and not working out their pelvic floor for the longest time. Disgusting but true. Gym fact.
Oh, you and I both love Howard. We both love Bubba the Love Sponge. You know, Bubba's like one of my best friends, and Bubba let Hogan blast his wife. So, you know, this isn't that crazy letting another guy blast your wife, but at the end of the day...
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Look, if someone else is fucking your wife, she ain't your wife. That's not how it works.
It's crazy with the drugs and the kids. Like, if there was no kids involved...
Hold on. Owen says, Nick said Kayla's body was destroyed from having 5 kids. I think the assumption there is stretch marks on the stomach, legs, and area, not necessarily the vagina. I don't know, but this is an absolutely insane comment to make. Like, even if this is true, do not say shit about your wife. Say she's got the sexiest body you've ever seen. You can be a simp for your wife. Don't tell the internet, don't tell thousands of people that your wife has been ran through and is now not even desirable by this man, apparently, because he doesn't even want her anymore. Come on now. That is like, when I heard that, I think the first time I heard it, I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck?
I wouldn't even be mad. I mean, I wouldn't really throw any shade. It's like they're adults living their life. Well, how does that affect me? But with the kids, and you were talking about how you went over there.
It kind of reminds, there's like a meme someone had. I think it was on the Mad at the Internet podcast with Josh Moon, the owner and operator of Kiwi Farms. It was like a picture of like Dick and Pedo, co-host. And there's like a blurred out, like semi like Gaussian blur of the 4 kids in the background. And they're like smiling saying, how does this affect me personally, internet? Come on now. Think like, won't somebody think of the children, but not Vito. Don't let him think of the children, because we don't want him gooning in during this thing, right? Don't tell him about them. But like, won't somebody else, someone other than Vito, think about the kids?
I laughed so much, Aaron. That was your best content. You talked about how you gave them SpaghettiOs because you were so earnest about it. And then now looking back, it peeked into a window that we didn't, like everybody's saying, oh, he's giving them SpaghettiOs because he's not feeding the kids. And now looking back, and that was just internet rumors. It's all true, basically. So
Alex, here's my thing, is I get so frustrated when I watch these Lawtuber people and they're covering for Nick and they're going, oh, I don't know how credible Aaron is. Like every legal document that's come out with every piece of evidence has been exactly what I said it is. Like
we have a tweet Robert Barnes. Let's put the Robert Barnes. Because
before they get into the Robert Barnes stuff, which I'm sure is going to be insane cope. One thing I will say about Aaron, even though I don't believe a lot of the things he said, I think that the theme of what he's saying is mostly true. And a lot of the things that he does say is actually verified by the police reports. Like he said, the kids were hungry, he needed to feed them. That shows up in the police report as well. Like if Nick is denying all of these accusations and it's not true, that's one voice against what, 10 people? You've got the 4 people in the church. You've got Aaron, who was on the scene. Invite Aaron. I think he's been passed around to the point his body's been destroyed already, is what I'll say. So I think he said his piece, and it changes a little bit every time. If he wants to talk to me, I'm happy to talk with him, but I don't think there's a lot of crossover in audience, so I don't see much of the point. And I don't think he'll tell us anything new. That's what's really interesting. But yeah, these details, like the kids smelling or the kids having not changed their clothes or the kids being hungry specifically, have been verified by several different unrelated sources. So is the conspiracy that they all got together beforehand? The police is working hand in hand with Steel Toe Morning Show. Are they part of the conspiracy? No, of course not. That's ridiculous. Look, the simplest answer is usually the truth. And what you read in the police report is the simplest answer, that parents were strung out of their mind chasing highs that they could never obtain, or some sort of crazy rock star lifestyle because they got a little bit of clout on the internet, minus celebrity status on the internet. You can walk through the street as a YouTuber with millions of subscribers. Nobody's going to know who you are. Okay. It might feel like a lot online. If you go to a convention, sure, everyone's going to know who you are. That's kind of the advantage of being a YouTuber, is that you can be like this micro celebrity where if you go to these small places like, Anime Matsuri or something, you go there, you can act like a celebrity, you can leave the con, you can go to a bar, nobody knows. You go back into being this anonymous person, which is what everyone really wants to be. You don't want to be a celebrity in your day-to-day life. You don't want to be harassed by people in the street. It might be fun at first, but it's not fun, okay? But they get a little bit of a taste of a little bit of clout, and instantly they change to the point where they can't even just do the laundry and feed their kids. The absolute bare minimum of being a parent. That's literally the only part of being a parent, is like feeding and clothing your children. And then, teaching them obviously as well. Teach them to be better people. But come on now.
I thought Robert Barnes, I had some respect for him, but he's sweeping for Nick. And if they did do an illegal search...
He absolutely is. Let's see. So the Barnes tweet says, details from Rekieta's case got worse from a constitutional perspective. Basically, 4 church members who were mad Rekieta walked out of sermons. Well, this is completely conjecture on his part. He doesn't know that they were mad that he walked out. They claim in the report that was because the children were hungry and smelly. They got the pastor Rekieta made fun of to make a complaint of child neglect and possible drug use. There's no possible drug use here. Of course, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, but this isn't a court of law. This is the court of public opinion. And I think I've seen enough.
Whatever, then I guess Nick should have the charges thrown out. But Nick has been exposed as being a deadbeat dad, basically, because he doesn't have custody of his kids. His parents, mother-in-law, father-in-law are the ones that are taking care of it. It's
not that Barnes is a dinosaur. It's that he engages in this strategy where he makes a ridiculous claim that causes a lot of sensational things to get attention, to try and get onto various... Like, Barnes is essentially an internet ambulance chaser. He did this with Rittenhouse, I believe. Like, he made these ridiculous defense claims, and then he was snaked his way onto Rittenhouse's defense team, and then he was mysteriously dropped. So this is a pattern of behavior for Barnes, honestly. He's literally just digital ambulance chasing, is what I think he wants to defend Nick. He said so on his tweet. He said he'd be happy to defend Nick. And I believe he is barred in Minnesota, but I'm not 100% on that.
Openly using drugs in a household with 5 kids. One is 16, and you know how weird it is. I'm very close to my parents, Aaron. I get the impression that you were close with your parents. How weird would it be if you went in mommy and daddy's room and there's a couple, 4 people sleeping in bed having late night sex?
Yeah, there's no way to explain this. They have a 16-year-old son. He's not stupid because he goes to his friends' houses and they don't have 4 people sleeping in a king-size bed. Even small children can realize that something's wrong. Something's out of their ordinary. Something's not right here. Because it's like, mummy and daddy, how come those people in the park only have 2 parents and we have 4? This doesn't make sense, mummy. They know. You can't hide it. You think that's the thing. Like when you're drunk, you're drunk and you're in a bar or something, or you're at home and you're going for a walk and you're like, nobody can tell I'm drunk. I'm just going to stand up straight and I walk down the line. And you're like walking all over the place and you smell like whiskey. Everybody can tell. This is what it's like when you're on drugs. You think nobody can tell. Oh, nobody can tell that I'm dozing off in church. I'm just going to go out for a quick bump. Nobody's going to tell. Come back hyper. Like, yeah, let's sing some fucking carols. Of course, everybody knows. Nobody has ever successfully hidden being drunk before. It can't be done. It can't be done. Perhaps teachers.
Doing God knows what. That's not a good, parental influence. Would you agree?
I'm ashamed of what I've done. I've been told by people, stop, apologizing, stop being ashamed. I don't feel good that I was doing these things and all this was going on. You get carried away. And the worst part is 99% of the time I wasn't on drugs.
Yeah.
I did some experimenting and I wasn't a big fan of it. And I would encourage others to get off it. And that wasn't met very well. But I dabbled in it a bit. But, none of the kids didn't see any of that stuff. The kids didn't see any of the real degenerate stuff that wasn't done when the kids were around or anything like that. But
Aaron, I want to say this too.
I don't see how he can say that. Like that, there was no time that he wasn't around. The kids weren't around. There's just no way. There's just no way. They've got 5 kids. He's got kids of his own, by the way.
This is one thing is, and you when you first went on Bubba the Love Sponge, when you got fired, and then Bubba had you on, and Bubba said it too. You are a talented broadcaster. You do know how to talk. You do a show 6 hours sometimes a day. Multiple shows. You are talented. I'm not even trying to hate on that. But what sucks is you throw that all out.
I've never watched the Steel Toe show, but I don't think it's for me. But I guess I'll defer to the chat on their opinion on is the Steel Toe morning show a good show. I find that might be hard to believe, but that's my opinion. Grim's Bar with 2. How's it going, Grim? says that's not to be what they meant by praise on high. Nice. I see what you did there. Very clever. Appreciate the two.
Out the window, like think how big Nick was as soon as you start doing the drugs. And I know that you realize that fast, but you had to see when he revealed the curtain and you're seeing all the drug use and stuff. I mean, you'd have to say, hey, this guy's not going to be very successful living this lifestyle, right?
I mean, he's pussy blind. He didn't give a shit what was going on with the drugs because he thought he's like, going to get a taste of strange. He admitted so on the Kino Casino. He said like he wanted to fuck Kayla, and he got to do it. So of course he's like anything to get that whole goal. He did it. He didn't care. He's thinking with his dick. And congratulations. And now you're part of national news. Elder Gusto says, Josh Copium, he did a good, great Macho Man and Randy Savage impersonation. Maybe the best I've ever seen. Oh, okay. Well, I guess everybody's good at something.
You're smart enough to know that.
I didn't think about, I'll tell you this, and again, genuinely was a friend of mine. I didn't think about it in terms of his streaming. I thought about it in terms of his health. There were many times where I talked to Nick about cocaine and I'd go, dude, it seems like you're doing a lot. And I don't know much about the drug. So he could do things like tell me, oh, no, well, I've read this and I've looked into this and you don't understand what it actually is. Is this like he had a
Look, the thing about doing cocaine is that it's a lot like a cop in a Denny's, okay?
great way of rationalizing the usage. And unfortunately, I think those things were probably told to my wife as well, because every time
the answer to the question
I
is
would
baking.
confront her on the usage, it would end up being a giant fight, and it broke my heart. And I probably didn't handle it well. I probably got very upset with her.
There's no good way to handle that, Aaron. You know that. There's no good way to handle that. And you know, this is what makes me sad too.
But Alex, if I could real quick, Alex, I mean, this was someone that I wanted to be with forever.
I like April too.
And love her. She's a great girl. And
the fuck? Is he actually crying this? Is this real tears? Shit, Alex is like, look, Nick said a lot of crazy shit. The one thing he said is don't cry in public as a man. And that's true. Don't do that. Holy shit. I mean, yeah, his marriage has been destroyed. He's been outed as a cuck for the entire state, and he's in a small community, so everybody's going to look at him and laugh at him. But you got to hold back these tears, man. Like, you're crying for April, coked out chick who left you for someone with a slightly larger audience. You're crying for her? Her? What about your wife that actually is your baby mama? Is it fake crying? I don't think any man really fakes crying. What man would fake crying? It's so embarrassing. Like, is it worse? Is it more embarrassing crying for real, or being like? I mean, if your children die or something, then that, yeah, okay. If your dog dies, your kids die, your wife dies. You know, your wife that isn't a coked out whore. Your dog dies. You're allowed to cry. Those are acceptable. Those are acceptable crying things for men. Any other situation, no.
To watch someone, I will say this, if you guys, don't be like me. If you see someone in your life and they're even thinking or talking to you about experimenting with drugs, don't let them step in, do what you can, because you just got to watch it change people. And it changed 2 or 3
You can see the disgust on Alex's face.
People that I really liked and really cared about. And I couldn't save them. And I couldn't stop them.
He's faking it.
And I've been talking about this a lot lately, and it's probably just getting to me a little too much. But I just go through times where I'm angry and I want all of them to pay for what they did.
I believe that.
And then there are times where I get like this, and I genuinely
I didn't see him cry on the Kino Casino. Like, not sure about that.
I genuinely feel a kind of guilt for not doing more.
When it makes Aaron, wait, you're getting emotional.
Like he was talking shit about his wife like for hours, and then talking about how much he loves Kayla, his sweet baby girl. I'll rescue you, and now he's crying for April. I'm gonna possess the down on this one. I'm afraid.
Makes me emotional too, because I remember the stream when April was so happy telling the story about how you proposed to her, how your daughter gave her the ring, and how your daughter proposed to her. It's a very emotional thing, and I know that your kids loved April, and I know that you love April. Why did April change, in your opinion? Do you think Nick is a lot to blame?
Didn't April, like, I mean, I don't know the deepest steel-toed lore, but didn't April like basically ruin his relationship with his previous girl, his baby? Like, I think he's got like 2 or 3 kids or some shit. Wasn't April like come between them when his wife was pregnant or something? And then he got his kid to propose, to hand his ring to him. I'm not sure I approve of this story.
And because I think April is very funny. I think she's hip. You and I spoke privately. You said that she sometimes takes other people's mannerisms. She kind of did that with you.
She takes a lot more than their mannerisms.
you too. She would be, she probably doesn't like to talk shit. Then you start talking shit, she starts talking shit. You know what I mean? I'm just saying she became a broadcaster from emulating you. How much is Nick to blame? Because I think April really is a good person. She seems like she has a good heart. And I know that your family loved her, and I know they had to be struggling with this.
I've really piled on Nick. Some people would say maybe he deserves it. Maybe I've just been talking.
He does.
Maybe I've been talking too long about it. I don't know. But I don't want to put this all on Nick and say that, I know people have used the word groomed before. I'm not going to use the word groomed.
Like, you can't be groomed if you're an adult. Stop pretending. She's a 29-year-old woman, okay? Practically ancient, okay, by Japanese standards. That's a joke. New people in chat, don't worry. We're allowed to have a little bit of misogyny as a treat on this channel, okay? No, she's a 29-year-old woman. You can't say that she groomed. Like, oh my goodness, she was groomed. She's not responsible for her actions. She was just 29 years and 11 months old. How could she be taken in by this fossil, this Methuselah, with his big den of drugs, his antediluvian chest packed with every unknown substance and concoction? Poor April, the victim in this. No, fuck off. Come on now.
April's responsible for her own decisions. I think she did idolize Nick in a way. I think she was taken by the following. I think
she's a clout wife. She liked you because you were on had an internet presence. There was someone with a larger internet presence, and she swung the branch swinging. It happens every day.
She was taken by the cars and the money and things like that. But ultimately,
that is true.
She made her own decisions, and I couldn't stop her from making those decisions. I couldn't stop anybody from making those decisions.
You can't stop somebody. Don't beat yourself up. You can't control the things you can't control. But with Nick, he would buy all the drugs. You didn't have a drug dealer, right? I mean, this is all his dealer.
I never spent it. Yeah, I never spent it.
That's what I'm saying. I imagine April didn't either. So
not only is he a simp, but he's also cheap. He's taking all the drugs and not bringing any to the party. Farms found the body cam. If that is true, if there's children in the video, I'm not going to watch it now. If it's a real video and there's no children, then I'll watch it now. But do you want to preview that for me? Check DMs, because they're supposed to get a court videographer to edit out the photos. If it is the case that it is the real body cam footage and not just a meme, then maybe tomorrow morning I'll wake up early. I'll blur out the faces myself, and then we'll go with that. Some people, if they want to go with it, that's fine. But I think for me, okay, never mind. Hold on. All right, apparently, let's see. Or apparently it's fine. Let's see what this is. Let's see what this is. All right. Apparently it's okay to watch. Let's have a look. Is there no sound for this video? Alrighty, so. That's a lot of coke. All right, that's a lot of coke. All right, you got me there. Anybody wants? Oh, it's a cause light. It's even worse. It's even worse for you. There you go. Holy shit. That was all right. You got us. That was a pretty funny one. We'll finish up on Aaron.
Probably associated the high that she got with drugs.
Yes, be sure to hit the like button,
dealer,
people.
right? I mean, whether he sold it to her or not, I'm just saying that was her connection to it.
It's
so
free.
when you start to use drugs, you know this. You've used a little bit. You become focused on the drugs instead of your personal life. That's why she wasn't like mailing the guests their gift certificates, or I'm just saying you could tell she disconnected from the show. So when did you notice the switch? When April, because the internet,
probably noticed a switch when she was getting switched, as in wife swapped. Yeah, I think when Rekieta was bulldozed deep in my wife, I think that's when I noticed that she wasn't as happy on the show. Funny how that happened at the same time. Bit of a weird coincidence, one might say. Bit quirky, bit weird.
We're seeing the clips where the internet was calling April out. I didn't think it was that true. I don't believe anything. You know how we have A-logs that just make fun of everything we do. Half of it's BS. I'm saying, when did April make the switch? And at what point did you start liking Kayla? Because do you think you liking Nick's wife pushed April away more?
I don't know what happened first. I don't know if Kayla.
Now, I think this is where Aaron's story diverges from what he said on the Kino Casino. And I think a lot of what he was saying was to get Nick mad. Like, he has a bit that he wants to hurt Nick, which is understandable. But he was saying on the Kino Casino, like, he fell in love with Kayla. They were soulmates. He wanted to rescue her, sort of thing. And I think he really dials back on this point now. And I guess maybe some people have told him that he was being cringe, or maybe he's just thought better of it. Who can say? Or maybe, like, God forbid, he's going back to April. Like, maybe he's like, oh shit, this is a shit situation. May as well just go back to the person that wrecked it all. I mean, apart from himself, obviously.
And I started spending more time together because we were fighting with our spouses, or we were fighting with our spouses because we were spending more time together. I've gone back and forth between those two things. I've said both of those things. I'm not sure.
So. Yes.
Just the whole lifestyle, the whole time is a crazy whirlwind. And again, I can't recommend it for anybody.
Yeah, it doesn't work. It doesn't fucking work, because what happens, and this is actually what Aaron described happening, is that one person starts to feel jealous or left out, or one person becomes like a fifth wheel, and eventually they just get more and more jealous, and that resentment just grows and grows. And as you get resentment in these relationships, you become more unattractive to the person that you're trying to attract. And so it's this like this vicious cycle of getting more and more excluded, and that's when it all fucking blows up. And as it did blow up, it happens every time. Happens every fucking single time.
It scandalizes your marriage. It destroyed a good relationship, and maybe two good relationships. You know,
you're gonna get a third wife. I'm not kidding when I say that. Just realize that. Man up. It's gonna suck right now. You'll find another. I got chat rats. I'm saying you have an audience. You're gonna find some lady in Kunda High County that's gonna want to be with you, Aaron. You're not. I will say this, you're Alex, thin fella. You're okay looking guy. You know, you'll be okay.
Thank you, buddy. But I will say this. I'm kind of in that the phase of that Mitch Hedberg joke. I don't currently have a girlfriend. I just know a girl who would get really mad if she heard me say that.
Oh, all
time to ruin another woman's life. Hey, why don't you introduce her to some of your fun friends, internet friends? That'll go great. That'll go great. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. That's the thing though. Like when you have like a little bit of, even if you have like bad reputation in your town, just being known will eventually attract those clout goblin women. Of course, there's already someone ready to move in on this situation. Of all the lies that Aaron's told, I believe this one.
Ready? You got to be kidding already. Okay, I want to get into that, but we got to play this clip from the hot tub stream. Do we have this clip? Because this clip is.
Here we go.
We have to play this.
Yeah. Oh, I thought they were going to play the clip where Nick walks in wearing no shirt and licks Aaron's face. Oh wow, big surprise! They were swinging. I guess joke's on me because I didn't want to believe it. I'll be honest. I didn't want to believe it. I was saying like, guys, there's this is going to be explained away. Okay, it's, you know, in some weird way, surely they're just having a bit of a meme. They're having a bit of a joke. I'll admit it. I was coping pretty hard until last week when it all came tumbling down. I had stopped watching Rekieta from a long time ago, because he was just like, I think like the most sick thing was the Dear John thing. Like, I think that was when, like, I would still tune in occasionally to see what he's talking about. But I think the Dear John thing really put a sour taste into my mouth. Like, yeah. Anyway, let's watch the clip.
Yes, we just have to play a short clip.
By the way, this one.
I would give you a pass.
Doesn't like me very much.
Okay.
I don't not going well.
I only got into this house because of this one here.
Absolutely. I'm charming.
These two are friends. He and I.
This is such a fucking dumb idea. Like, Aaron will go on to say that this was his 4D chess move to prove to the internet they weren't swinging by getting in a hot tub and then joking about swinging. Wow. Big brainiac move. Like, I think this is on Alyssa Clips' channel, like titled as the swinging hot tub or something. How fucking stupid do you have to be to think that this would fix? Like, I think this is just part of the humiliation fetish or something. Dear John, you guys didn't see the Dear John thing. So Dear John thing was this really weird moment where Nick was off his rocker as usual, and he was talking about a subscriber called John. I'm not sure if that's his real name or something, but basically it was this guy who was on, he wanted to jump off a roof basically. And he was ringing up Rekieta and saying like, hey, you're the only person that matters in my life. So it was like some real weird shit. And like, I'm not, I'm useless. I'm a fuck up. I'm going to jump off a building. My family hates me. And, obviously that's a pretty serious topic. And, like, how do you deal with it? That's a good question. Like, it's not something you expect from like a fan to just call you up and say, hey, look, I'm having these very serious thoughts. But then Nick goes on to just make fun of this dude. And there's just this like 30-minute like part of the stream where he's like, Hey, John, remember when you wanted to jump off the building? John, you piece of shit, John. I know your secret. I know your security, your social security numbers, John. You're in there with the Kiwi Farms. Like, it's really weird. And like someone actually clipped that together with a clip from the Critical Drinker. So the Critical Drinker was doing a stream. I do like his like after hours stream or whatever his podcast is called, where he talks about movies and shit. And then someone sent in a super chat saying, "I'm thinking about offing myself." They stopped the stream basically. They called up the cops. They found the guy and they got him help. And then it was open bar. Thank you, open bar. And then he posts later on to his entire audience saying, "Hey guys, we found the guy. He's okay now." Okay. Obviously, it's not acceptable to put this sort of like this thing into it. Like you shouldn't be trying to get attention from a large group on the internet, like with these sort of like suicide bait, basically. But the drinker saw the problem and reacted like a real human being instead of just making fun of this dude. It's really night and day difference to see, like, you know, which way do you want to go for the people that you respect as content creators.
A lot of weird homosexual friction that we're both denying.
Definitely. Do you want to read this name right here?
It's only
my
friction
mail?
because he doesn't
Where's
like
Sid?
glue.
What did Sid have?
Did Nick ever watch you blast his wife?
No.
He never was in the corner.
I'm going to press X to doubt here. Aaron has said that there was a few times when they're about to go at it with Kayla, and that Nick would show up and like be hiding behind the door, looking through the cracks, like, "Yeah, hello." Apparently, he was quite controlling and narcissistic. I mean, I don't know how much of that is true. This is kind of like, you know, you have to watch the Kino Casino to kind of get the entire picture on that story. It's quite crazy. I think it is required viewing if you're interested in this case, though, because it's absolutely insane. It's probably the craziest thing that's going to happen all year. It can't get much worse than this, really. But no, I definitely believe that they were doing shit in front of each other, hot swapping, you know, like all sorts of crazy shit. They've got to be. You can't tell me that there was. No, we had some dignity in our thruple, sex-depraved, drug-fueled nightmare. Of course, we respected each other's boundaries. I did not watch him. He did not. No, come on now. Come on now.
Corner in the cuck chair doing.
No.
Then what was all that gay friction talk about? That sounds like there's something.
So the whole hot tub stream was my brilliant brainchild. That would because there were all the swinger rumors were starting already. Like they were all over the place.
And it was true. And it's true. So you just said, "Hey, let's just let basically."
But they
dog
didn't know
whistle
that.
it?
So I go ahead and I go, why don't we just overload them with this over the top swinging energy? And then they'll be like, well, nobody would be dumb enough to be this brazen and open with it. And then
how'd that work out? How did that work out? Not good. Not good.
The internet's smarter than you and I combined. The internet, you know,
Yes,
that's
they
the
are.
thing is they're smarter and they can tell. But, you know, let's talk about some positive stuff, though, before you go, because, you know, I know you got, like I said, a million other shows. How are you going to rectify this? Because it sounds like you don't have any relationship with April. I know you don't wish her any ill, but I'm saying it seems like that's totally done. You're a father. Like, you know, I know you're trying to get back into a.
Here's what I think he's going to do. I think he's going to try and get April back in a threesome with this new chick. He's got to double down on co-cause. That's the only way to go, right? He's going to double down. He's got to chase that dragon. You know it. You know it. He's going to do it.
Normal life. What is your goal right now to get out of this? Are you going to keep talking about it? Because it's not going to go away. Nick's going to continue to have court cases. It's going to be something that people talk about because he covered legal stuff. He's going through legal stuff. So it's kind of his whole.
Don't self-snitch. If you're doing something illegal, don't self-snitch and upload it to the internet. And don't pretend that if you have like a locals or a Discord or anything like that, that's all private stuff. No, there's always like little spies. You think you're safe behind your $5 paywall? No, of course there's people in your locals chat screenshotting and recording everything because it's fun for them. It's just a silly like the people think that like people like not like Kiwi farmers, but people that like collect sort of information. They think that they're like weirdos or that they have like they're like just like goblins that like spend all their time in their dungeons, not sex dungeons, mind you, but regular dungeons, collecting information. That's not the case. I would guarantee you that if you had a sample size of 10 Kiwi farmers, I bet there would be really normal people with probably very average jobs, and that's why they like looking at these internet shit shows. Because when you have a normal life, it is interesting to go to the zoo and see the crazy animals jumping around, throwing shit at each other. But the thing is, you leave the zoo, you go back to your normal life. And that's what it is. That is the interest in these sort of endeavors. Cataloging madness because your life is balanced and you just want to peek and have a look at how people are doing poorly. And then you want to go back to everything where it's great. Now, of course, there's probably some other Hinge Kiwi farmers. Of course, there's always a few rotten ones in the bunch, but I would imagine that like 8 out of 10 probably very normal dudes.
Niche, right? You know, so this isn't going to go away. What are you kind of game planning? What do you? I know you don't know, but what do you think is going to happen with Steel Toe Morning Show?
Look, I've got a great support system. My family and friends have been very understanding about everything I've told them. If you ever find yourself in a situation like this, always be honest with people. Tell them exactly what happened, and if they love you, they'll forgive you. As far as the show goes, look, we're going to cover this. It's my life. I talk about my life on the show. I talk about the news. The news and my life happen to be very intertwined right now. So we're going to talk about it. I do want.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's going to be great.
I want to start adding other.
I'm not sure that's a great
stories, topics, and things into the show. But right now,
I think like the problem about making yourself the content in such a way is that Aaron's going to have to chase that high of getting like record high viewers. Like I think his show's larger than mine, but like, you know, pretty small show, right? When you get like a big bump in viewers, you're like, how do I chase that next high? And this happens with IRL streamers. So IRL streamers, they go outside, they do crazy shit, and then they realize that people give them more money if they do crazy shit. So they have to keep doing progressively crazier things. So I think for Aaron, there's no going back to being normal. He has to keep doing weird things because they have to bring in the numbers again. I mean, his livelihood depends on people being interested in him. And for him to be interesting, he has to do crazy things. So it's not a good business strategy. Some people can do it. There are some people that can really make it work, but I'm not sure Aaron is in that point of his life. You have to be a younger man, I think. I think you have to be in your 20s to kind of make that work.
You know, things just keep coming out every day, and we have to talk about them. And there's thousands of people at a time who are coming to us asking us these questions. I want to know, and I was there firsthand, and I know certain things, and I speak on the things that I saw and the things that I
I
experienced.
think he's just going to ramble on for a little bit. I might skip forward a little bit, see if they start talking about something else.
What do you think is going to happen to April? The dealer would have. So sadly, you're never going to be able to wash the stain away. What's going to happen to April? I know she would talk about before. I know you don't know, but what do you speculate is going to happen with April? Because she was kind of worried about her behavior on streams and future jobs. Is she going to go back with Nick? What do you think is going to happen to April?
What do you think, Chat? What's going to happen to April? I think that she's going to either go back to him, or she's going to find another. She's going to find another internet personality to latch onto. I think that if you've been with two internet celebrities in the past, that's it. You're conditioned now. You've been like imprinted, like a baby bird or something. You have to find another internet personality and ruin their life as well. Jackass Whiskey and Pinto Beans for $2 says, "I'm a 61-year-old man and a virgin." Well, you don't have to be if you don't want to be. Oh, but since you've been a wizard for like 31 years, do you really want to give up the arcane arts for a crumb of pussy? Like, I'm pretty sure at this level, you could probably cast mass teleport and perhaps like summon several water elementals. So keep doing you, man. You don't have to make sex your life. Like, yeah, if you want it, that's fine. You could always just go you can find a girlfriend at 61. You absolutely could if you want to. But it depends what your standards are, right? And depends what you have on offer. And you can always just go get a prostitute too, if it's really bothering you. But like, just do you. If you enjoy being that way, then you have a much simpler life than the rest of us men who have to deal with women. Imagine what we go through on a daily basis. Having to pretend we care about what they're talking about. It's awful, my man. You're probably the smartest of us all.
I don't know where she is right now. Whenever we communicate, it devolves, it gets bad. So I'm going to, I don't think we really want to speak to each other right now. I think we want to get the divorce done and just move on, or at least I do. But God, man, I really hope she finds that person again. I really hope she's
good looking. She will. How much did it affect her that Red Bar would call her Megamind? That had to hurt her feelings, right?
I don't know. You'd have to ask her. She never led on to me that.
Has April been working out at the library? I didn't really notice it, but people were saying that she could sell real estate on her forehead. I don't know if it's that bad, but I think like those sort of comments really affect women. Like if you say that and you're like, "Hey, Megamind, like, did you just do 5 sets at the library reading books, short as shit?" They're like, remember that forever.
Bothered her
because she's she's an attractive girl, but that Megamind. I laughed about that for a long time. People laugh when they make fun of me. I mean, it's just natural, right? But did that not?
I'm sure you did, Alex.
Well, I'm saying, how much did the internet affect April? Because I know it affects you, but you've been doing it a little longer, so you've gotten hate, and you realize you get a thicker skin. I've gotten a thicker skin, but April didn't have that time to develop that thick skin. So how much did the outside, echo and you're on drugs? How bad did it affect her?
A lot. April was, when she started doing this, she was so excited. I remember she would complain about her job, and I said, "Well, you want to come work with me?" And she was so excited to do it. And when all the positive,
why don't I bring my wife to work? Nobody's ever tried that before. What could possibly go wrong? No, look, here's a real, like, obviously I joke a lot, but for women in chat, men need their space. Men do need their space. If you've got a man and maybe he works at home, or you want to go, you know, he's doing a project or something, sometimes he just needs a bit of space. It's not because he doesn't want to spend time with you. It's just that men need time to think. You know, we need time to mull things over in the old noggin. That's the way it works. Just give your man some space and, you know, have a nice sandwich ready for him. He'll be great happy. And he'll sit down, watch some Netflix or some shit and do that stuff and have fun.
Positivity and people talking about how beautiful she is and how good she's getting at broadcasting would come in. She would love that. She really enjoyed it. And as much as I tried to brace her and prepare her for negative comments by saying, don't worry about it, don't read it, everybody gets an opinion, we get to do a show, they get to talk about it. You can't prepare someone for that. And you either have it in you to handle that kind of stuff or you don't. And then they really leaned in hard on her, especially once she let on that it affected her.
Phrasing there. Yeah, you can't be in each other's faces all day and night. Some couples aren't like that, though. That is true. Women also need their space. You should tell that to Mike. No, just kidding. Just kidding. Just kidding. But yeah, everyone needs their own space, to their own zone. But yeah, typically bringing couples together in the same workplace is a bad idea. Actually, in Japan, a lot of people do meet through workplace, just being co-workers, right? But the thing is, if people get married in Japan, the wife always immediately quits the job and just either finds a new job or becomes like a homemaker or mum or something, because they know that married couples should not be in the same office. They just know it doesn't work. So that's the norm. There's a lot of secret office relationships that happen in Japan as well. But yeah, if it goes official, you get married or you start dating, usually one of them will leave the office because it's like, it's just, you know, it just needs to, you know, need space. You need space.
And again, I won't have another partner on the air ever again.
That's good
because
advice.
It's not good for your
You
relationship.
shouldn't do that.
Okay, now last couple questions. Patty Melt in LO, in all of this, you know, he's made so much content about you. You know, there's people that do that about me. You know who we're talking about. I feel like he's jealous of all the success that you're having right now. I know you wouldn't trade it, but what is the vibes that you're getting? I don't know the latest. I haven't been watching Patrick's streams. I see his clips.
Absolutely believe with you, Kiwi
what is
Green.
the NLO been saying? Has he been, you know, chirping at you, or you ignored him?
He's loving the attention. And then what happens when he goes down? When the high goes down, what's he going to do? What's going to happen next? When you're on top of the world, everything seems great. But what goes up must come down.
That whole world is really sick because I think the same thing you do. Mm-hmm. I think they're just looking at the viewership and the numbers and everything.
Andrew doesn't live in Japan. I live in Japan. I'm in Japan right now. Andrew. Andrew lives in Thailand at the moment, but I'm not sure. I think he also lives. I'm not sure. Maybe he's like a dual residency. I don't know. You have to ask him. I think he might live in Korea as well. I'm not sure if he's in Thailand for good, and I think he's just traveling around. But he comes to Japan to time. We hang out sometimes. He's a good guy, Andrew. It's fun. But he's taller than me, which is very frustrating because I've been tall all my life. 6'3", 191 centimeters. He's like 6'9" or something. It's ridiculous. He makes me look like a child. It's not fun. I like looking down at people, okay? But I have to hang around with him. He's looking down at me all night. It sucks.
Everything else and me passing him and everything else. And he's like, I think he's upset about it. I think he's a little... And I want to tell anybody who would feel that way, you don't want to go through this.
I haven't been to Hokkaido yet.
I wouldn't wish this on Patrick Melton even. I mean, this
is the guy that's A-logged you and said the most repugnant things about your estranged life. You're too nice a guy, dude. You got to go scorched earth.
Alex, and maybe I will. Maybe that'll be next. But Alex, honestly, I go to a particular meeting once a week because of the things I've seen. I'm going to therapy once a week for the things.
Jackass with whiskey for $5. I've had lots of money and had adventures. Been in combat and have engaged in heavy petty. I'm not sure what heavy petty is. Like petting each other, like groping and stuff. Oh, I see. Yeah, heavy petty, no coitus. Should I have sex before I die? That's up to you, man. You have to live your life. Don't live your life based on what other people think you should do. If you want to do it, go and do it. If you don't care, then don't worry about it. And if you're just curious, then yeah, sure, try it. Just wrap it before you tap it. If there's someone in your life that you think that you would like to maybe just ask them out on a date and see what happens. Or just go to a bar. Like you said, you're like 60, right? 60-year-old men do really well. Like older men do very well in bars. You can probably date like someone like 30, 40, much younger than yourself, who still looks pretty good, probably a lot better than you look, honestly, because that's the way it works, right? If you have a lot of money as a man, you can always and interesting stories too. Like if you're a charismatic guy or whatever, you'll definitely find somebody. Just go out there and see what happens. But just do what you want to do. Don't worry about what society thinks. Live your own life, and you'll be happy. Yeah, just do that.
I've been a part of. This is going to be a long journey. This was tough, and doing shows while I'm kind of recovering from all this and the things. By the way, and when I say recovering from all this, things I've done, things I'm responsible for, absolutely 100%.
Did Kayla ever say who had a bigger dick, you or Nick?
No, Alex.
You didn't ask?
No, Alex.
You come on, just say it. Yeah, but
no, he said that there was a comment. I think
Nick's not gonna. I mean, who was bigger? Nick was thin. Aren't you guys both tall, thin guys? You guys should have some big hogs.
I will tell you this. I can't. Again, I've told this story before. I don't remember which girl said it. This is the best I can do for you. She said, "Both of my guys have great dicks."
Kayla said that.
There's no way he doesn't know. There's no way he didn't see one little ding-a-ling. They were in a hot tub together. Nick was in his underwear licking his face. There's no way he doesn't know. Aaron, you fucked up liar. The only reason he would lie about this is if he has a smaller dick. There you go. And he's not saying it because he knows it's going to come up in court. The dick size, the dick question will be answered in the court of law.
That's disgusting.
I don't know. That could have been Kayla. That could have been. I don't know who it was. Somebody said it.
You guys never did a double team blast. Come on, admit it right now.
No,
you never did. The shocker. One of the pink, one of the stink.
Between Nick and I, there was a lot of
Hello there, silly cats.
high school, college maturity level homophobia in interacting in general.
Well, he did get naked on your stream. Was in his boxers. I mean, he was hanging wang basically. Okay, now
he also got caught with almost 27 grams of coke in his house. I mean, there were a lot of judgment calls that maybe weren't the best.
Well, Aaron, I really appreciate you being honest, and I really do appreciate you saying that you're not innocent.
Right, so that you can watch the entire. I mean, watch most of it, but that's from Aaron Stein 99. Although I'm watching on Alyssa Clips, who is basically the premier clipper. These days, you've got a lot of stuff. If you're interested in Baldo Gate, the collapse of the Baldo verse, or whatever you want to call it, I quite like calling it Nick Reketamine, the Rick Reketamine stories. But Dick Locator is also pretty fun as well. Yeah, you can check it out on across the Lawtube. Actually, this is going to be going on for a while. The next week or two should be very interesting. Of course, we might do a EFAP or review lie check stream on the first Rekieta stream back. I haven't decided yet. Depends how long it is and how much crazy stuff he says. If it's like pretty honest, like if he admits his wrongdoings and says he's going to make change and actually like shows that he actually is, then I'm not gonna be an A-log or anything. But if he comes out and it's like this crazy, I didn't do nothing, the government the government conspiracies, then I'll definitely check it out. When we get the body cam footage and also the photos after they're censored, make sure we don't want to dox any minors or anything. We'll take a look at those as well, so you can look forward to that. Be sure to like the stream on your way out, and also subscribe if you have not, if that sounds like your thing. I do some other content as well, and I usually restream somebody, but who is streaming? Shizzy Wiznut is streaming. I want to restream to Shizzy Wiznut. He's driving or some shit. We've got like 1,000 people. We go stream rate him and just like blast his chat out. That'd be great. That'll be a lot of fun. I've always wanted to do like a really big restream on somebody. Actually, Shizzy Wiznut he's gonna lose his nut. He's gonna go crazy. Redirect, enter Shizzy. Go say hi to. Why can't I copy this? Copy. Oh, there we go. There we go. I was pressing the wrong button. Save. All right. I'm out for tonight. Thanks for stopping by. Biggest stream ever by a wide margin. A lot of fun hanging out with people, and I think I needed to get some stuff off my chest. Honestly, this has been something that I found quite disturbing. And thanks for stopping by, everyone. Go say hi to Shizzy, like his stream, at least say hi in his chat. If you're going to dip out, at least like his stream. At least give the man a like. Look, I'm going to give him a like right now, and I'll see you maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Maybe tomorrow or the next day. Peace. I'm out.